Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here. It's so good to see you back for another stream on Rumblings from the Lab. Because I know, at least for me, this is Saturday evening. I hope you are doing well, wherever you are, be it day, evening, or tomorrow or yesterday. If you're watching this on the rerun, I hope you have a good time. I hope you enjoy the stream. Please consider hitting the like button. Perhaps maybe subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And I got a new hard drive, but I promise I had a rough week last week. So I was not able to do my sci-fi horror stream, and I've missed 2 weeks on that and Gilligan's Island. But I absolutely promise that I will pick up on that this week. We have our Lost in Space coming up Monday, and then the sci-fi horror stream Scanners, and we really will cover it this time. I promise. Gilligan's Island, I'm not so sure about. It's up in the air, but I can always discuss that later on. And I want to say first of all, hello PvP. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Pop. Doing okay. Once again, I got too lazy and didn't do a lot of stuff that I should have done this weekend yet. But it's like, oh well, that's life.
Oh, it's funny you said that. Same thing here. I ordered stuff, and I'm looking at the Amazon boxes right now. I've got to get them unpacked.
Oh really? Oh okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
funny. It's
I'm happy I got actually an induction cooktop. You know what that is?
I think I do. Maybe you can explain it.
It's like a hot plate that you put like a skillet or a pot on, except it's induction, so it doesn't really get hot. You just have to put the pan on it, and it heats the pan up directly. So anyway, put it in a nutshell, I'm going to be able to start cooking in my room.
So it's like a safe way to cook because it doesn't get hot and cause any harm.
It doesn't. Well, you can put your hand directly on it while it's turned on.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard of those. Yeah, that's really neat. I kind of wish I had one of those, but I don't. So
Yeah, supposedly I haven't used it yet. Like I said, it's still in the box. But what's great is
that's cool.
somehow it transfers energy directly to. It's got to use a certain kind of pots and skillets. They have to be like uh, cast iron, stainless steel, anything a magnet will stick to.
Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
yeah, somehow it transfers heat directly to the skillet or pot, which means they heat up much faster than they would on electricity or a gas stove, and it's much more
I've
accurate apparently.
Yeah, I've heard of stoves that have those kind of the stove top, right? And
Yes.
I never knew they actually just came like as a single hot plate kind of thing. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I remember years ago when I had my house, I wanted a stove like that, but they were very, very expensive. But they're starting to come down in price now that more people are using them.
Yeah, well, I live in an apartment, so I have to put up with what I've got when I moved in, like 10 years ago, right?
Well, that's
Uh,
why, like I did, you can get a stove top. You can put this like on a table and cook on it on
I
the
should.
counter.
I really should think about that. Was it expensive? Like what was the cost?
I got a sale price on Amazon. It's dual. There's two burners. Well, I know I shouldn't call them burners, but two burners. It's a large one. I got with sale prices and all the prices knocked off on Amazon about 129.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Nope, it's not, and it's
Yeah,
safe.
that's
Like
actually
I said,
yeah, that's
yeah, I
pretty
don't have to
good
worry
'cause
about fire.
I remember one time about a year ago, I put something on the stove and I dozed off on the couch. And I guess half an hour later, I wake up with the fire department pounding on my door.
Oh yes.
And I wake up and the place is full of smoke. And I was so embarrassed, right? Because, they basically, stormed in here when I let them in and, tore the screen out of the window and opened all the windows up and to let the smoke out. And
uh,
I felt like a dumbass. I'll tell you that.
I had a job where I was working grave shift years ago, and I would do that. I'd come home and then forget it. And what's good is this induction has a timer on it, so
Oh,
I can set
perfect.
it right. And even if I don't set the timer, it shuts itself off after an hour. So if I want
Excellent.
it to cook longer than that, I have to turn it back on.
That's really great. That
It
sounds
is.
really.
I'm excited. Yeah, especially since I'll be able to eat. So I got that, and I got some pots and pans and cooking utensils and things like that. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
all
should look
ready to
into
go.
that. I should look into that because the older you get, the easier it is to doze off or forget something, right? So,
It
yeah.
is, yeah. And considering it's in my room, I don't have to worry about like an open flame or anything. It's going to cause a fire.
Right, right. It's basically safe. Yeah, that's really good. Really
Yep.
good.
Hail, Canadian Spider Man. Looks like we want to say hello to the chat. So good to see you all. I was in Spidey's chat earlier in his stream earlier as well. I know PvP. I saw you in there. He was making some hot sauce.
Yeah, that's what I was hanging out for like 2 or 3 hours when I should have been doing house cleaning. I was like, I don't feel like doing cleaning. I'd rather just hang out and chat, with Spidey, right? Because he was cooking. What was he cooking? Some kind of
Well, in
sauce.
I was wondering that in his headline or title, whatever it's called, he said hot sauce. But I'm wondering, Spidey, if you're still there, was it hot sauce or was it salsa?
It was
Canadian
kind of
Spider Man.
similar to. I think it was
Go
kind of
ahead.
similar to both in a way. It was kind of like salsa, but I think he did say it was like a hot sauce. He put a bunch of peppers and stuff, and he was basically reducing it down on the stove for like
Yep.
3 hours.
Well, I guess they're
And
pretty much salsa and hot sauce the same. I guess depending on how much you whip it until it's liquid. I guess
yeah,
you could have salsa, and if you just blend it up till it's liquid, then it's hot sauce. I guess.
I think he ended up eventually towards the end of the stream putting it in a blender to try and liquefy it a bit. So, but it still
Oh,
seemed pretty thick actually. So
okay.
I don't know.
That's what I
Not
like.
really.
Yeah, I like salsa. It doesn't soak into the like. If I put it on anything like bread and stuff, it doesn't soak in it too fast.
Mm. Yeah, it was just entertaining. Me, I'm a chatterbox, so I'll always chat, with anybody if I got a chance
Yeah.
this type of way in the stream. Actually, it was good though. Spidey was pretty good at catching up with the chat every once in a while and reading our comments. So that was fun. So yeah,
Well, what was interesting is this is 2023. I had to actually think about the year.
yes.
Back in about 2001, uh, Spidey stream reminded me in about 2001. This was long before we had Zoom or StreamYards or any of that stuff. I
Mm,
had a buddy up in Oregon, and I was in California. He was making a roast, and he didn't know how to cook very well. And at the
no.
time, we had these very cheap cameras called Quick Cam, and then it was like black and white, crude, very low resolution, and if you were moving too much, it would be like a slideshow.
Oh God.
And we were using third-party proprietary software to communicate. And I was showing him how to do a roast. He bought a roast and the vegetables, and I was kind of guiding him on how to cook a roast.
Right.
And this was, like I said, long before we had Zoom or FaceTime or any of that. It was so primitive back then, but yeah, I was one of the original pioneers of it.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the internet. I remember when I got my first computer when I think I was probably in my late 40s. I can't remember exactly. It was around 1998 or something. So I probably would have been like, let's see, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay, I was probably approaching 50 or whatever by then because I'm 65 now. So I remember I got my first PC in like I think it was around 1998. And get this, I knew so little about computers. I took it out of the box. I set it up on my desk. I plugged all the wires in, and I'm staring at this thing, right, and I'm going, okay, how do I turn it on? Because I didn't. It was one of those computers where they kind of the on button is kind of hidden, if you know what I mean. It's not really
Oh yeah,
noticeable, and you got to like look for a while, and then eventually, after probably 10 or 15 minutes, I looked. I thought, oh, that looks like a button. Maybe I'll push that, and thankfully I did, and I got the thing started. But I'll never forget that I was such a noob back then. It just blows my mind.
that was back. Yeah, that was back in the days where they had videotape courses. I mean, they were expensive. These videotapes you could buy that would show you how to use a computer, and they also had like PCs for Dummies. Those books. Do you remember those? You ever seen them?
Oh, I remember the dummies books. There was like
Yeah, Windows for
dummies,
Dummies and all that.
dummies on anything basically. It seemed.
Yeah, that was big. Late '90s, early
Yeah.
2000s.
Oh yeah, I remember there must have been dozens of those books on every
Big
pretty
sellers.
well
Yes.
any topic. Yeah, any topic you could imagine pretty well.
Of course, we don't need those anymore with YouTube. All you gotta do is point over to YouTube and just say type in what you're looking for.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I love about the tube here is it's such a versatile library. Like it's basically kind of replaced old school libraries with books, right? Because you can pretty well find any subject on here that somebody's done an extensive video about. So
Yep.
yeah, it's really a handy thing to have. I really love YouTube, really.
Yep. But it's yeah, definitely. I know I've said it before, but I don't even watch TV anymore. I just go straight to YouTube. That's where I spend all my time.
Yeah, me too. I spend too much time actually. I have to admit I think I've become a YouTube addict because I just when any of my YouTube friends are going online, I just have to pop in. I
Same
can't say
here.
no. I'm really
Yeah.
bad at that.
Well, and I have to. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I need to spend more time on other channels. I need to start broadening my base of people I know, because I've got this circle of people I know and people that know me. But I need to reach out and start going to other channels. It's just I've had bad experiences, as you know, like on Klobbies and some other channels. So it's getting to where I'm very hesitant going on to channels that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, well, I've had like you mentioned Klobby. That's interesting because I used to love going on there on
Yeah,
the
me
Saturday
too.
night Star Trek stream, and then they said some things to me one night, like
Yeah,
maybe
me
4 months
too.
ago, and I
Yeah,
was just like, okay, I'm done.
I
I
know.
know,
Same. That's what. Yeah, I know. The same happened
yeah,
with some other channels. I just don't want to upset anybody by saying anything
yeah, I
because
know.
I know they have listeners everywhere that are listening.
Yeah, I think I know the channel you're talking about. I don't have to guess too hard.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's
Actually,
sad because some of those
yeah,
channels I had been on for years. Some of them I had been a paying sub for years, but that happens.
yeah, and I really enjoyed some of them too. Like I really, for many months, when I discovered them, I was like a regular every week and enjoyed the content. But after a while, I just got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm really not into this anymore. I just got bored, I guess, basically with some of it.
Well, I'll just say that what I learned is I'm on the contrary from what I saw and the way I was treated on other channels is the main thing I learned is I'm never going to disrespect my subs or the people on my panels or the people in the chats because
Well,
that's what some
yeah,
of those channels they tend to do. They just blow off people like they're nothing, especially once they get up to like 1,000 subs or more. It's like some channels just don't care and they treat people terribly. I'll never do that. So that's a
yeah,
I thank
yeah.
those channels for giving me that powerful learning lesson because that I know what not to do on my channel.
Well, it's kind of like real life, right? Pop. We've all known people in our past that we thought might have been friends or at least good acquaintances, and eventually we ended up finding out they weren't because of something
Yeah,
they did. And it's like
yeah,
you kind of live and learn, I guess. So
yeah,
so the saying goes, right?
yeah. It happens. Um, Canadian Spider Man says hello and good evening to you, pop culture curator. Good evening to you, Spidey. And I want to say fantastic video today. And a quick question, Spidey. Hopefully you're still here. I think you sent that, yeah, some time ago. But Spidey, if you're still here, that little bag of herbs you held up in the video today when you guys were talking about ounces, my question to you is that something you got like okay, I obviously I was in California and by the way, I used to grow I had like at one point I had 90 something plants. And so I used to grow and I also used to buy from or sometimes I still buy stuff from dispensaries. I'm in Arizona now where it's legal here and they have dispensaries. But I'm curious, do you get your stuff at a dispensary and then put it in a big bag, or do you grow your own? Because from what I've seen on your videos, you've got some land out there. So I mean, I wish I had that again. I'd be growing all over the place. And Canadian Spider-Man says whoop whoop, and there's PvP right there. Hi, Poppin' Spidey. PvP is waiting for my supper to cook. There you go. Oh yeah, it's supper. For me, I call it dinner, but you call it supper. Pop culture curator. Hello, everyone. There we go. Yes. Hi, looking forward to another fun chat, says PvP. And pop culture curious is if you oh oops oops. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, hey everyone, hey Gorilla, hope you had a good time at the swimming pool today and the birthday party. And PvP says, hey Gorilla. And hello Suzanne, so good to see you. Pop, hello, says Suzanne. And PvP, hello, says Suzanne. And now that Suzanne is on here, that reminds me, my Stream Elements bot should hopefully kick in soon and hopefully start plugging everyone's channels, including Suzanne's fundraiser. Everybody, when you see that pop up, Suzanne could use a little bit of help. She's raising her grandson. She's a single grandparent. So if you can help, any and everything is appreciated. And Suzanne says, Gorilla, hello. And Suzanne says, my phone may die, fellas, but I'll stick it out until then. Oh, I understand. I've got this terrible, terrible phone. My goodness. The battery doesn't last. Even if I have it just sitting and it's not being used, the battery just drains. And then it's very slow charging. But what's frustrating also is when people text me messages, it takes 20 minutes or more before the alert goes off. So it's pretty much impossible trying to have a conversation back and forth with somebody with text. I usually end up telling them to please call me because if we're going back and forth on text, it's going to take all day just to get a few messages across. It's really frustrating. And Suzanne, thank you for dropping that. Suzanne drops a link to Canadian Spider-Man's channel. Hello, LDG. So good to see you. LDG says evening. Thank you for the advice earlier, LDG. I appreciate it. I hope you had a good time on Mr. Lundale's channel. And Suzanne drops a link for Gorilla's Random Thoughts channel. And Suzanne says, check out LDG. Yes, LDG free the net / underground.
Yeah, hi,
And
LDG. I always have a problem with that name.
well, sometimes I know he's LDG, sometimes he's Job, Jobe. So I guess it's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
interchangeable. And Gorilla says, so I can't put my fake hand on it. Hey, Suzanne. And hello, Sean Carter. Hey, good to see you, everybody. Check out Sean Carter's channel, the Sci-Fi Model Guy. And the
Hi,
link should be
Sean.
popping up here soon. Hello, everyone. I'm driving now, so can't respond. Drive careful, Sean. Keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. And Suzanne says, Sean Carter, hello. And Suzanne dropped a link for Sean Carter's channel. Thank you, Suzanne. Lemon Pie. Oh, hello, hello, Lemon Pie. What's up, ladies and gents? And Suzanne says, Lemon Pie, hiya. Lemon Pie says, hi there, Suzanne. And Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, hey, of course, hey, Scurvy. And look there. Looks like Stream Elements is finally awake. And it started off by dropping a link to Ola Greg's channel. So, yes, everybody, check out Ola Greg's channel for some great reviews.
There you go.
Lemon Pie says, yo, Gorilla. And Lemon Pie says, help Suzanne if you're able. And Lemon Pie also dropped a link to Suzanne's fundraiser. Yes, she's very, very worthy, everybody. She's legitimate. Definitely not the boy who cried wolf. And Lemon Pie says, hello, Pop, PvP. Suzanne says, Lemon Pie, thank you. And of course, there's a link, everybody. Check out my good friend Anti-Derivative Jill's channel. A lot of entertaining content. She just was recently past 500 subs, and which recently monetized, which I'm working with YouTube on to try to see if I could do that with my channel. And Gorilla's Random Thought says, that's not true, BBP. I was live earlier, and you didn't have the urge to hop on.
Oh, but you were doing Babylon 5, which I've never seen that show, so that's why I don't bother with that, because there'd be no point, because I know nothing about the show other than it's supposed to be great, but I've never actually watched it, so.
Yeah, that's what I like. That's the same thing I tell Jill. Like when she does her UFO or UFO or whatever and things like that. I've never seen it.
Or
So
UFO.
yeah, well, I'm not sure. It's a debate on whether it's called UFO or UFO, but
I
I
know,
don't.
I
I
know.
won't pop on a panel if I don't have anything to add because
Yeah,
what's the point?
it's like tomato kind of debate, right? It's like,
Well, the people that watch it, like her, who else was it? I can't remember. Somebody who told her to watch it. Somebody who recommended. I don't remember who now.
hmm,
But the people that watch it on YouTube are calling it UFO
I know.
because they said that on the show that's what they call it. But I am subscribed to Gary Anderson's channel, and Gary Anderson is the guy who made the show. And
Uh,
when he interviews people on there about the behind the scenes of, like I was listening to the guy who did the music, he did the music for that and Space 1999 and so on. They
right.
call it UFO.
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, back in, when I was young, back in the I guess it was what, 70, 71, whenever it aired originally.
Yeah, early
I
70s.
Yeah, me and my best friend, we were both a couple of geeky nerds, of course, and we'd watch it. I think they'd air it every Saturday in the afternoon, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock
Are you talking
on
about UFO or
CBC.
Space 999?
UFO.
Got it. Okay.
So we'd watch it every week and totally get into it and have fun watching it. Um, but yeah, it's a really good show. Actually, if you've never seen it, you should check it out. There is a channel on YouTube that actually has very high quality episodes. The whole series available,
Oh,
actually.
I did. I obtained it. I downloaded it. I got through part of the first episode and had that chance to finish.
Okay.
But I'm going to give it a try. I do like Gary Anderson.
Well, it's a good show, and I think there's like 26 episodes in total. So it
Oh,
only
that's not
aired
very
one
many.
season. Well, it's just one season. They were actually promised to get a season two, and they were all, getting ready to, gear up to do the second season. And then I guess for some reason they fell behind in the production on any season two episode. So I guess Gary Anderson decided, instead of doing season two of UFO, let's just, morph it into Space 1999.
Yes.
And apparently that's exactly what happened, right? So,
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Hello, Daniel. Good to see you.
hi, Daniel.
I know I heard you for a second, Daniel. Nemesis of Eden. Hello, Nemesis of Eden. My good buddy. He says, yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
Nemesis.
sorry about that. I had some microphone problems. Yeah. So how you guys doing?
Doing great,
Doing
and that's
okay.
understandable. I've been there myself. I know what it's like to have technical difficulties beyond your
It's always
control.
it's always good on the weekend, I must say. It's much better than a weekday when I got to work. you know. So yeah, weekends are good,
Yeah, and when we were talking about the early '70s with Gary Anderson shows.
right?
Anything out of Britain was on PBS for us, and I don't remember UFO, but I do remember Space 1999, and I did watch that faithfully.
That was on PBS there? Wow.
Anything Monty Python, Benny Hill, anything that was British was all on PBS.
It's interesting because here in Canada, Pop, we had UFO and 1999 on the CBC network, right?
Right.
Because that was our main network back then. I can't, I think by that, no, I think actually we just had the CBC. We had one channel back then. I think we didn't get the CTV second network till around 1973. So, yeah,
Wow.
we were pretty backwards as far as entertainment options here. But the thing was, back in the 60s, the CBC had more good programming on every week than I got 40. So you remember that Bruce Springsteen song, 40 channels and nothing on? That's what we got now. There's like 40 channels and nothing on them. Whereas back in then, we had one channel and it was just crammed full of all the great hit shows, right? So,
Oh yes. Yeah, we had
different time.
in the U.S. we had our three networks, and then eventually we had independent stations.
Right,
And
right.
I got
Yeah,
to where the main three networks, it was like just all of them were the same. It was like soap operas during the day, and
right.
then it was news, and then it was whatever primetime shows they had. And so
Yeah.
I would watch the primetime shows, but I usually during the day no, I would watch the independent stations that showed Star Trek and Invaders and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, during the day here it was probably soap operas and game shows back in
It
the day,
was
right?
that's
You
all.
know.
Yeah, every one of them. Yeah, it was game shows, soap operas in that order. Usually, it was game shows in the morning,
Yeah.
soap operas, a little bit of game shows in the afternoon, and then the evening news, which back then was only 30 minutes. Now it's like 2 hours of just the same stories being repeatedly over and over.
Yeah, and the reporters back then in 30 minutes could cover more intelligent topics than 2 hours they can now, because most of them are idiots now by
Well, not only that though,
comparison.
that was back in the day where they actually used to have investigative reporters. They would run
Yes,
exposés and stuff like that. Now it's just chirping the same thing that they're being told by their bosses, which is verbatim that you're hearing on the next station and the next station. So,
exactly. I remember
or
CB.
reporters interviewing reporters. That's why I can't stand CNN or Fox. It's
Yeah,
reporters interviewing reporters.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I remember back in the day, like maybe 20, 30 years ago, CBC used to do they do in-depth stories. Like I think it was an hour back then, and they'd maybe have the day's news in the first half hour, And then the second half hour would be dedicated to, they'd take one story and they'd go really in depth, right, for like 25 minutes or whatever, because of course there
Yeah.
were commercials, but they'd go really in depth with investigative journalism. And it was really quality stuff back in those days, right? And then the last 10 years, CBC has gone into just woke land, right? It's just garbage now. I can't even watch it. Like,
Well, because it's owned by the same people that own Fox, CNN, and
it's
all the other
horrible.
news stations. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah, it's just garbage now. I just can't be
Everything
bothered.
is owned by just a handful of companies now. That's why, and like I said, and you can look on YouTube and there's clips where it'll show clips of certain topics and what the reporter's saying, and it'll show 12 screens and they're all saying the exact same dialogue,
Yeah.
even though they're competing networks. So you can tell that the scripts just
Yeah.
handed to them and they're paid off. They don't do any work at all anymore.
Well, it's just like, excuse me, a lot of internet websites. You'll read a story written, and then you'll go to another website and it's the same text, and you go to
Yes.
another website and it's the same text, and
Yes.
it's like, what's the point,
The same
guys?
buzzwords, right? The same buzzwords.
Yeah, identical. It's like verbatim, right? And it's like,
Uh-huh.
this is ridiculous, you know? Yeah, I don't
Well,
get it. I
well,
don't get it, Bob.
that's why people are cutting the cables. People are getting wise to that, and they're saying they've had enough.
Yeah, yeah, I really should. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but trouble is, I know if I cut my TV, they'd just jack my internet up. So
Well, not they will, but not as much as if you're paying for the channels. For example, if you're paying, I don't know, $20 for the channels, and you have that turned off, they'll jack your bill up about $5.
yeah, this is Canada though. We used to have competition. We used to have Shaw Cable here, uh, out west, and back east it was Rogers. Well, guess what? About 4 months ago, Rogers bought Shaw Cable out, and Shaw Cable no longer exists because I just got my monthly
Go ahead, Ginger.
bill, and now it's got Rogers logo on the envelope, right? So it's like, oh yeah,
Well, even here, like my roommate, he's got a big screen TV in the living room,
right,
but he's got a satellite dish. But he
okay,
told me that the internet is fiber optic, and I'm like, oh, and I noticed he never watches the TV; he watches everything on his phone. So I asked him, I said, I noticed you got a satellite dish in your backyard, and you got that big TV, and you never watch it. He goes, oh no, I don't watch the TV. I only watch what's on the internet. And I said, are you paying for your TV channels? He said, yeah. I said, wow. I said, that's got to be expensive. And he said, yeah, I know. I got to turn it off. Same thing. It's the same. They've got everybody thinking the same thing. They've got everybody perfectly programmed. And here's what he said, just like you. I know, and I know I'm spending a lot of money, but I'm afraid if I turn it off, they're going to charge me more for my internet. You've got to cut it off. You've got to turn it off. Otherwise, you're going to be paying your whole life just making people richer for something you don't even use. Take that step and cut it off. Because believe me, you're still going to save money in the long run. Don't keep paying it if you don't use it. Exactly what I told him.
yeah,
I remember
that's
when I
true.
took that.
That's
I
true.
remember when I took that plunge. It was back in the early 2000s, and they said the same thing. We're going to have to raise your bill more if you cut off the TV. I said, go ahead. I said, go ahead. And I said, if you raise it too much, I'm going to complain to the FCC. So yeah, it cut off like $50 off the cable TV channels, but the penalty was like about $5 extra on my total bill. So it was worth it. So basically, I saved $45. Does that make sense?
Oh, that does. I'm not sure what it'd be here in
Right,
Canada,
but they have everybody by the balls, and everybody. I mean, it's like listening to the same script. I know. I'm afraid if I turn it off, then blah blah blah. It's like, oh, really? Let me play the recording to what the last person said, and the
well,
last
that's the
person
problem.
before that, and the person before that.
That is the problem, though. We are creatures of habit, and we get stuck
Well,
in
the
our
first
little
thing you never
routines.
should have,
You know,
done is you never should have signed a package that included all free, because everybody knows that's more expensive than paying for them individually.
well, the thing is, my parents actually signed up for the account like back in the early 70s, right? And I've just kept it. Like my mother passed away like 8 years ago, and I never bothered calling them to tell them she's dead to get it switched over to my name, right? So I just keep paying it every month, and try not to, make any waves. As long as they get their money,
Make any
they're
waves.
good, right?
Wait,
And
make
I
any
know,
waves. You're the customer. They should be the one worried about making waves.
oh, but try telling them that. I've called them
You
before
got to
when
stand
I
your
when I
ground.
I'd call
Believe
them.
me, they know how to manipulate. They know what to say to manipulate. That's what they do.
Oh,
They're paid to do that.
well, Shaw was horrible because I'd call them and I'd say, "Did you get
But
my
did you?
payment I sent last week?" And they wouldn't tell me if they got my money because it's like, "Oh, well, you're not the account holder. We can't
Or
give
then
out
I'd
any
say, okay, I'm
information."
canceling. Then immediately I'd say I'm canceling. Okay, you don't want to tell me I'm canceling. Bye bye.
The
And then
only
believe
thing
me,
is,
they would change their tune real fast.
yeah, I'm in a tough spot though, Pop, because I've been working at home for 5 weeks now, so I can't. I'm afraid if I make
No,
waves,
you won't come to the point where you actually do have it turned off.
yeah.
Just the threat is enough for them to change their tune, is what I'm saying.
Well, what I need to do, I've got my mother's death certificate over on the shelf here somewhere.
You
I
don't need it.
need to. Well, no, I think I might. If I have the death certificate, I'll just go into their office here and I'll say I need to switch this account to my name, and here's why. And I think once they see the death certificate, there'll be no argument, right? So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm curious. I'm curious. Why do you think it would be different than if you just said she's dead, and if you won't put it in my name, then how about we just open a new account with my name?
Well, I've had some pretty bad experiences with Shaw Cable. Like they can be real dicks. So
What
I
can be
would.
what can be worse than paying monthly fees for something you're not using? What could be worse than that?
That's true, but still, I'd rather find. I know the death certificate's over in a folder I got on the shelf here. I just need to grab it and go into their office, and then actually I should do that next weekend because I think we got a long weekend happening here.
Okay, I just from everything I've ever been taught, the only people you should have to show your parents, because I did this when my mother passed away. The only people you should ever have to show your parents' death certificate to is like a financial institution, like a bank or something.
True.
To a cable TV company, doesn't make sense.
I
They're probably,
just
in fact, if you see it, they're probably going to be like, "What?"
no, I'm just saying I'd feel more confident if I actually had
Well, yeah.
the,
But
the
have you ever
official
said to
document.
them? Have you ever told them she's dead? Can I put it in my name?
Well, no, because I don't want to take a chance that they'll cancel my internet, and I need my
Well, that's
internet.
up. That's up. Yeah, I'm saying, but that's up to you. You're going to keep on paying for those TV channels you never watch.
No, no, no. You're right. You're right. I know. I know. I need to change it. I really should.
I mean, it
You're
wouldn't hurt to
absolutely right.
ask them. I mean, they're not going to say she's dead. Oh no, we're going to shut it off. They're not going to do that because as long as they're getting their payment, they don't care. See, when I guess I just have a different frame
Probably
of
true.
mind.
Probably true.
I have a different frame of mind. When my mother was alive, I bought her a Direct TV. So I bought her the
Okay.
tuner, and I was paying the monthly payments. When she passed away, I called him and had it turned off in less than a week.
Well, that's good.
But I don't know. I just look at things different. Anyway, I don't want the chat to think I'm ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you guys out there. Suzanne says Nemesis, hello. And Suzanne says, check out YouTube Nemesis of Eden channel. Yes, check out my good buddy Nemesis channel. Nemesis of Eden says, hey Gorilla, hey Suzanne. And Lemon Pie says, Nemesis with applause. Nemesis of Eden says, hey Lemon. And PvP says, Suzanne, hi. And PvP says, hi Lemon. And oops, Stream Elements bot. Suzanne says, Yepers, I left 5 different Discords today and 6 channels that got too big for their britches. I signed, in fact, Daniel, you still there? You were asking me about Discord earlier. I signed up for Discord like 2 or 3
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah, I used to be a sub on Doomcock's channel. And when I was a Discord, I was a monthly subscriber for Doomcock. I paid monthly dues. And I signed up for Discord because I was on his Discord channel. I'm not sure what it's called. But then I got to where the point I just never used Discord. I know I still have an account because every now and then I get emails saying that my name is brought up on Live with Matthew's channel. Matthew's a really nice guy, but I haven't been on his channel in a long time. But yeah, I've got a Discord account, Daniel. I just haven't been on there in a long time.
Yeah, I've heard about Discord. I've never signed up for it because basically I just use Twitter all the time to get messages, to people I know, right? So,
Well, I'm hard pressed. Yeah, I'm hard pressed to figure out what's the difference between Discord and YouTube and everything else. It's like, is it just another more of the same, or is it something? Daniel, if I was to ask you with Discord, what is different with Discord that makes it, advantage of, why should I use it, above and beyond YouTube and
Well,
Twitter?
there is an option where you can talk privately on Discord. You can talk to a lot of people, but you can also talk privately to people.
Well, you can do it on
And
Twitter. Do you mean? Do you mean?
YouTube doesn't have that.
Well, not YouTube, but you can on Twitter. And when you said talk to people privately, do you mean through text or like voice with the microphone headphones or what?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
what?
Text
Which
and other stuff too. Yeah,
you mean the voice on the microphone?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, right now,
Hmm.
what I do, if I want to talk to somebody privately with the voice and microphone, I just open up a StreamYard channel, but I don't go live, and I send them the link, and then we just talk in the back.
That's a good idea. I never thought of that actually.
Well, that's what I did when I was helping you with your. When we were troubleshooting your channel when
Right.
you couldn't remember the password.
Yeah, I remember that some months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I do. I just create a stream, send somebody the link, and we just don't go live, and then we can chat and do whatever we want. We can even watch movies, videos, whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember now. Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
Kind of like LDG's backstage.
Yeah. I guess he only sends people he knows the link to watch that, doesn't he? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, but he gets a lot of different people from all over in there, so I guess he's a pretty popular guy. Nemesis Beat says,
Well.
"Hey,
Yeah.
Pop, hope you are doing well. I am Nemesis. I'm doing a lot better than I was earlier this week. Thank you. I was able to resolve some of the issues that I was having. Thank goodness. Whenever I have an issue, I work as hard as I can to try to resolve it so it doesn't linger because I don't like being upset or depressed." And Nemesis says, "Hey, PPP." Will says,
Hey,
"It's not
Nemesis.
LEG or Job, it's Puckles."
Puckles.
I haven't heard that one before,
That's a
but
new one.
okay. Suzanne says, "Thanks, Pop. You're a dear." No, Suzanne, you were very sweet, and it is my pleasure. And Grills Random Pot says, "That's clickbait." Lemon Pie says, "Pop is right. It shouldn't be turned off via that conversation." Well, yeah, Lemon Pie agrees, and yeah, but that's my opinion. Lemon Pie says, "Unless things are radically different in Canada." Basil Battle Dragon, hello Basil, so good to see you. Basil says, "Hi guys," with applause and cheers.
Hey,
Nims of
Basil.
Eden says, "Discord, that's cord." Nims of Eden says, "I'll pop on after I make some grass pop. Smoke some grass." Oh, Nemesis, I wish I could join you, buddy. I wish I could join you. But I would be coughing. You guys, I'll tell you to be here.
Yeah, if I was going to do that, I'd have to get edibles because my old lungs wouldn't enjoy it. Actually, I'll just mention I actually went for a lung test on Friday to the local hospital, where you have to like do deep breathing in and out, in and out. The great doctor, like she was really cool, and they walk you through it. Like it's like you have to like do a deep inhale and then you've got to do a deep exhale and push every ounce of air out of your lungs,
Are they
and they
using
tell
a
you
stethoscope or some kind of machine?
no, it's a machine. It's really
Gotcha.
cool actually.
All
They
right.
hook you up to a machine. You have like a plastic mouthpiece in your mouth when you're doing it, so it reads everything your breath is doing. And so it's like you got to blow really hard, and they're like, keep going, keep going, keep going. 1 second, 3, 2, 1. They just basically tell you what to do, and then after that, you got to suck up a big lung full of air again, and it's exhausting because after 90 minutes, you didn't. I've done this like you do it like
90
40
minutes.
times.
I'm surprised you'll
I was
pass out.
well, yeah, I felt like it. Believe me, Pop. It's like, and the thing is, they actually they don't just do that test, but they take you in the next room, and it's pressurized. I don't get what was going on, but you have this other mouthpiece you put in, and they put these chemicals in the system, so you're breathing this stuff in, and it's actually made to like see if your airways get irritated by it, which mine did after, because there's like steps 5 through 10, right? Well, I got to step 7, and the doctor said, okay, we're done, because you get to a certain point where your airways start to not like it. And so she was cool. She was like, okay, you're done. And then she gave me a bunch of, where you have the inhaler, right? So she gave me like the inhaler like 6 times to get my lungs to calm back down. And then after about 45 minutes, I was able to go. But it was quite an experience. But she's going to send all the results. She's sending all the results to my doctor, so that'll be great when I see my doctor next month. So it's all good.
Absolutely. Hello, Deej. How you doing? Good to see you there, sir. Hope you're doing well.
Hello. I took the chance. Here you are. I could say hello to you.
Hi, Deej.
Good to see you,
Hello.
Deej.
I'm just
Yeah,
going to pop off for 1 minute, guys. I'll be right back.
sounds good. Basil Battle Dragon, or first Nemesis Bean says, hello, Basil Battle Dragon. Basil says, hey, you got to share, dude. I know, right? Like I said, I would, yeah, I could if I had the lungs, but I'd be coughing and gagging. I've gotten past munchies. I haven't had those because I got to where when I was younger smoking pot, I would have been like 400 pounds, and I would have spent all my money on munchies. So I was able to kick the munchies habit early on. So the only pot would do to me is just make me cough. But now with my lungs and the lung cancer, I can't do it. But I do miss it. Basil says hi, Nemesis. Nemesis of Eden says I would love to smoke with you, Pop. We would have a great time. We could use an ice hooter or something to help cool. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. In fact, I've got a little water bong. I could drop some ice cubes in that. Gorilla says, PvP, are you sure you just weren't getting a breathalyzer? You sure you weren't on the side of the road? Lemon Pie says it was to test blood eggnog levels. Right. And unfortunately, PvP's not here to see that. So I'm going to tell him when he gets back to check out the chat.
Okay, more eggnog jokes. I get it.
Nimzavine says, PvP bleeds eggnog.
No,
By the
my
time you
blood
guys
is.
are right, by the time you guys are done with those jokes, they're going to be selling eggnog at the stores again.
I'm thinking about We're about 3 weeks away now. So once it hits the shelves, I'll have to torture them with eggnog.
There you go.
Nothing
I'll go
wrong
on.
with
I'll say,
eggnog.
this is so good. This is so delicious. You guys are missing out.
Nothing wrong with eggnog.
I like
I enjoy
eggnog with a little bit of
eggnog.
brandy in it.
Oh, I
I
usually
don't e-
put. I usually get some that amber colored rum or Jamaican rum, which can be quite delicious with some eggnog. I find so. Yeah.
I don't even need anything. I'll just grab a half gallon and I'll swig it down.
Well,
Yeah,
PvP lives
I
in an
like
area where
eggnog.
he gets, yeah, PvP lives in an area where you can find it really cheap.
Well, I found it on sale pop. That was because they were clearing it out at the end of the season. Usually, though, it's god awfully expensive now. It's like $4 or $5 for like 2 liter cartons. So it's not really that cheap.
Well, wherever you bought it last year, you need to keep an eye out this year. Maybe it'll be on discount again.
Yeah, they cleared it out. It usually gets cleared out around the end of December, early, the first week of January, right? And I
Maybe a
just
certain
happened.
day, like Halloween candy is like day after Halloween. Maybe eggnog is like maybe the day after New Year's or something.
I think it depends on the best before date, like when it's going to
Oh,
expire. And I
okay.
basically, stumbled into the supermarket and I looked and it was like it was going to all expire in like 3 or 4 days. So I thought, well, I can just, and it was like, the good thing was it was like in heavy duty plastic containers that I knew wouldn't burst if I froze them. So I bought like, 4 or 5 of them and I just stuck them in the freezer, right? And it was
Very
all good
cool.
for months, right? So yeah.
Yep. Nemesis Bean says you could type his veins like a maple tree, except it's an eggnog PvP. Gorilla says, did your eggnog show up on your breathalyzer?
I did not have a breathalyzer.
so,
I've
so how
actually
are you?
I've never had a breathalyzer because I never been stopped in one of those
Same
roadside.
here. Yeah. I'm very lucky to say I've never even came close to a DUI. I do drink sometimes, but you cannot talk me into getting behind the wheel after I'm drinking.
Yeah, it's a
And
good
Deej,
thing
how are
to
you doing
avoid.
tonight, sir?
I did drink behind the wheel tonight, so we won't talk
Oh,
about that.
well, as long as you're okay and you made it home
It was
safely.
the first damn farm day out there actually picking, and then I got off and I had to stop along the way home.
Is that same place, that bar that you showed us on the video like a while back?
Yeah, I stopped there, and then I stopped at another one.
Well, because I remember that video that you showed us. That seemed like a nice place. That's the kind of bar. If I was to go to a bar, that's the kind of place I would go to.
Yeah, well, it sucked tonight because nobody there's working that normally was working. It was some Indian dude that I couldn't freaking understand.
Oh, so most people there are usually they stop on their way home from work.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And by the way, I was from when I was on your stream I don't know, it was a few days ago, Deej, last week, whenever that was. Yeah, I wanted to clarify that most of your political point of views, I pretty much agree with everything you said. So there's no
I know,
disagreement
but
there.
I know, but I was called a racist over it, so there's that.
Well, any of us that don't believe, right? Any of us that are not going to go along with the far left, of course, we're all racist and all that stuff. That's we might as well get used to that. Actually, I consider that a compliment these days because I know it's coming from an idiot that doesn't know me.
That's what I said too. It's coming from an idiot.
Yeah, they don't know you. They're willing to put all these labels on you and accusations when
They're going to give me lots of labels because I'll be stuck out in the tractor for the next 2 months, and I will do nothing but rant this shit on
right. And you know what's
my little
stupid,
videos.
right? And there's the idiots that starved to death if you weren't out there on your tractor.
Yeah, that's
Right.
a good one, eh? Well, my favorite idiots are the ones that you have their signs, all their big signs, and they sit down in the middle of the highway and block
Yes,
traffic because it's like ban
oil,
fossil fuels, ban oil.
right?
It's evil, evil, evil. And I'm thinking, did you guys have breakfast this morning?
Did they catch the
Yeah.
bus there? Did they fly
Did,
there? Did they drive there? They're wearing plastic vests,
yeah,
all I
Let's
mean,
see.
rubber
yeah.
shoes.
Did
Yeah.
you guys walk 5 miles to the protest
Uh
this morning?
huh.
Did you
Yeah, but
guys did you guys eat breakfast that you bought in a supermarket that was on the shelves because some hardworking truck driver drove it there with a truck running on fossil fuels?
they won't
It's
do
like,
that in my area because we'll just lower the head on the combine and we'll clear them out.
yeah, I agree. I wish it was somebody. It's just like when you see that kind of idiocy. That I see videos like that, especially on Twitter. There's like lots of that kind of crap, right? Where there's like people doing stupid things, and it's like I just want to slap my head when I see people that dumb. It's like, can you people possibly be any more ignorant and stupid than you
Well,
are?
the comical thing is, most of them idiots that are sitting out in traffic went to their meetup place in a vehicle, so they
Yes.
contributed to it to get there to go
Yep.
protest it.
Well, yeah, I mean, every detail. They're wearing clothes that were manufactured in a facility, in a factory. They're wearing
And
eyeglasses that were made in a factory that were made with machines. I
and
mean, so
And
if they're
also,
hanging
really
out on a
right,
freaking cell phone that was made with
yes,
all that.
right, so right, and the batteries of the cell phones are made from kid slavery overseas, right, where they're paying pennies an hour to dig inside of these pits.
yeah,
So
and on
yeah,
top
if
of
they're
that.
truly, yeah, if they're truly for the environment and truly against fossil fuels, then they should be laying out in the streets naked. You would think, and starving to death, right?
Well, on top of that, I'm guessing most of the clothes they're wearing and their eyeglasses are made from petroleum-based
They
product,
are.
right?
Yep, they
Right.
definitely are.
Well,
Uh
come
So
huh.
on,
it's
Pop.
like these
Seriously,
people are
Pop.
morons.
Most of them sitting out there protesting. Do we really want to see them naked? No,
No,
I
no,
don't.
absolutely
no,
not. Not
no.
one
I
We
of
don't
them.
don't.
want to
Yeah,
see them
yeah.
naked.
No, but they could blur it out.
What gets me too is they're probably being supported by their parents or they're on welfare as well, right?
Yeah, most of them are. You can see that they're mostly upper class, rich white people.
Yeah.
You know,
First
I
world
like it,
problems.
but yeah, my guilty pleasure, honestly, is watching the videos where people get fed up with it and they go out there and start dragging them out by the hair and stuff. That's the one.
Oh, I've
That's my,
seen those. Yeah, those are a lot of fun. Those are a
yeah,
lot of
I know,
fun.
right? They finally
Actually,
get their
I,
comeuppance.
I
I
think
don't
I
know
saw
the.
I saw one where they were sitting outside of a corporate office, right, blocking the door. And there was a guy with like a high pressure hose. He was like the window washer. He was washing the windows, and they just happened to be, in his way. So he,
Oh,
he he did a few windows, and then he got to them, and he just hosed them down.
Oh,
good.
the best one is the Native
It was
American
great.
police that drove through the protesters.
Oh, the barricade. Yeah, that was over there in Nevada.
That was
Yes,
the best one.
right. And what I
Yeah.
liked about that too is when it was an SUV, and when it drove through that barricade, the stupid ignorant woman was chained to that barricade at the same time, and it kind of drug her a little bit. And I love that. That was like my favorite part. In fact, I hate to say this, but I actually rewatched it over and over. I enjoyed it so much.
Oh,
Like
that's funny.
justice, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
they were
just
blocking lefties that protest all the time. That was the
Yep.
funny thing. They were blocking other lefties, and then those idiots got flooded out because they wouldn't pay attention to a stupid storm
Yeah,
forecast.
right. That is a lot of what Burning Man's audiences is. It's far left people that are with the climate change ideology and the same beliefs. Exactly right.
Well, Burning Man is probably about as far left as you can get, right? There's a lot of people
No,
there.
Yeah.
the ones blocking the traffic were even farther left than them because they were
Right.
pissing them off.
No, but
Yeah, they're
Burning.
getting further and further left to where even the far left offends the far left.
Well, the thing is, the far left is getting to the point with the woke stuff now where they're starting to eat each other, right? You know,
Well, even Obama
they're
said,
starting to
right,
turn on each other now.
but even Obama, even though I do not like Obama and I against everything he ever did to this country, even he said that it's like a firing squad and it's standing in a circle. He said it's like a firing squad standing in a circle. And it's like that perfectly describes the far left right there.
That's a very, very spot on analogy, I must say.
Yeah, because they do. Everybody's like, well, I'm fine. Here's my attitude until they come after that person. And they're like, well, what are you doing? I don't understand it. I'm a victim. No, no, no. You mess with the wrong crowd and you're gonna fall victim just like everybody else.
It's like, hey, if these people want to feel like a victim, try working a long work week until you're exhausted.
Right. Try not
Try
being
that, kids.
right. Try not being upper class. Try actually having to work for a living, right?
Yeah, try
Try
to be
supporting
working.
a family. Uh-huh.
Yeah, try to be working class like my family was. Like when I was a kid, my father was like basically a carpenter, and he actually stuccoed houses. If you know what stuccoing houses means.
Oh yeah.
And my mom worked for like I don't know 18 years at Safeway as a cashier, and they were hardworking, down to earth people, right? Like it was not a privileged household, even though my parents did take very good care of me as a kid, which I do appreciate to this day. But I know what working class means because that's where I come from. I come from the working class, so you know.
Well, and when you come from the working class, you tend to appreciate the working class. And another
Yes.
thing the far left need to try to do, try being heterosexual for a change. I think that'll change your entire opinion, far left.
I only ask one thing though, folks. If you
What's
do
that?
appreciate a farmer, just go watch one of my farm life videos, even though they're boring as hell. Just give me a like on it. And
I do. I like when I watched a lot of those. They're actually very entertaining. I like to listen while you're talking along as you're on the tractors.
I can't play video games for like 2 months now, so I gotta have something.
Something wrong with your computer?
No, I'm gonna be stuck out in the fields.
Oh, probably starting at dawn, I guess, huh?
Today was a late start. It didn't have to start till 11, but it's gonna be kicking in there to where it's gonna be long days.
Well, it is harvest season now, isn't it, Deej?
Yep, it was the first video of the first field we were out picking today, and
Yeah.
it
I actually make phone calls, cold calls to people on my phone list at work, and I get a rural area now, and it's like, can you call me back like in November because I'm too busy with the harvest right now to schedule anything? I'm like, oh, okay, I'll make a note to do that then, because I hear that over and over again.
I would technically still be out there if the dryer hadn't broke down.
Oh shit.
The corn is quite full of moisture at this point, but
Oh yeah, that makes sense. And you want it to mold or rot.
and we can't get the damn people to come out and work on the dryer, so I think I actually have tomorrow off. Which sucks because this is going to delay it even. I'm going to be out there in the fields past Thanksgiving this year.
Oh man.
Wow. And that's quite late in the USA, right? That's like November.
Yeah, this
we
is
have
almost,
ours. We have ours like in October, so
I'm betting we won't be done in the fields till almost December, first week of December.
Wow.
My boss has thousands of acres. He does.
Yikes.
So we're going to be quite busy.
So what are the crops you have besides corn?
Just corn and soybeans.
Corn and soybeans. Yeah, I guess soybean is pretty big now, huh?
Well, soybeans is for Bird of Prey 5. That's the running gag. Bird of Prey 5 has all the soybeans, so.
God. When I was in the Bay Area, that's all everybody talked about. Everything was soy, and it's like, good God.
Whenever I'm in the soybean fields, I make the videos specifically for Bird.
Oh, hail the Bird of Prey 5, right? Lemon Pie says, "What's the problem, officer? How many eggnogs have you had tonight?"
Oh God.
Lemon Pie says, "The people blocking traffic need to be dragged off to a cell." Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. When you watch those videos where they're dragging them off, they need to
Hey,
they
if I
need to
could
chain
get
them. Go ahead.
if I could get eggnog year round, I would dump it in my cereal.
Okay, I don't think I'm quite that hardcore, Deej, but
I would do
sounds
it.
interesting.
I think eggnog with some blueberry cereal would be awesome.
Oh,
Wow,
that does sound good.
you're giving me ideas. You're giving me ideas.
Let's see who
Blueberry
makes the
cereal.
video first.
Oh God. Oh man,
You watch it. I'm gonna make a video. Eggnog with blueberry cereal. You just
sounds
watch.
good.
Do they still sell
I'll have to
blueberry?
watch that.
Yeah, it only comes out during or Halloween time.
That's right. I forgot about
They've actually
Frankenberry,
got some
blueberry.
new. They got a new monster cereal out this year.
Oh, and I was thinking all that stuff was old. I hadn't seen it in years, but they still make that.
Well, they've got the Frankenberry still, the Count Chocula, the Yummy
Okay.
Mummy, and all that. But they got a new one out this year with some female character.
Oh, naturally. So let me guess. I can't say what I'm thinking about saying. Do you remember what flavor it is? I'm trying to be nice.
No, it's in Walmart. I can't remember because all I look for is blueberry.
Gotcha.
I like to eat tons of blueberry and then poop a blue turd, so I have a Smurf.
Yeah,
I know it's gross.
I don't think we have any of those cereals up in Canada anymore. I think they phased them out here like years ago. I can't remember the last time I've seen like Count Chocula or whatever.
Count
honestly.
Chocula and Frankenberry, they usually keep year around here, and it's not until Halloween when you can get the other ones.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw any of those, and it's probably been like decades. It's been ages.
They must
Go
sell
to
really well
Walmart.
with these that.
Well, we do
Walmart.
have different stuff up here than what you guys have.
Do you guys
know.
have Walmart up there, PvP?
Oh yes, Walmart. Hell, Walmart is just as big here as it is in every other bloody place on
Jeez,
earth, right?
man, I hate that place.
Oh, I really hate it now. You know, the weird thing is Walmart used to be pretty good here like a decade ago. And they had a decent, selection of stock and decent prices, and it was pretty good. I used to shop there, like maybe once a week. And then over the last 3 or 4 years, they've moved a lot of their inventory to the online only stuff where you can't actually, like they used to have, for instance, they used to have furniture in our local Walmart, right? Tons of furniture, chairs, tables, you name it, right? Nothing anymore. It's all gone. They moved most of their probably 80% of their stock. They've moved it to the online thing, right? Which is a pain in the butt because you kind of like to, actually, look at something before you purchase it, right? And get this, like about maybe a year or two ago, you used to be able to just walk in and out, like like a person in a democracy. You used to be able to just walk in and out of the store, right? Now, in the last year or so, they've got these gates set up everywhere where you can walk in, but you can't walk out. The only way you can get out is to go through a check stand or the self-serve line, right? So I know that's because of, people, thieves, stealing shit and running out of the store, right? So they got all these gates now. But it's just like you go in here and you feel like, you're just like cattle, right? They're just herding you around through their little corporate system. And it bugs the hell out of me every time I go to Walmart. And I probably shop at Walmart maybe 3 or 4 times a year now because I just can't stand the bloody place anymore. So
I
anyway,
think
that's
it
my
all.
Walmart
I think
rant.
it all. Yeah, I think it all started going downhill when they start cutting back on cashiers. They've always had like 10 to 12 cash registers, but then you'll go into Walmart and only 2 registers are open, and there's like 100 people in each line.
Oh yeah,
And
I
that's
know
where
about
that's
that.
where the problem. Yeah, that's where the problem started,
Yep.
and then
Well,
it's only downhill from there. In fact, I was reading an article. There's a grocery store chain in Delaware that was doing just like the rest of them. It was starting to phase in the self checkouts.
right.
But fortunately, in Delaware, apparently the people are smarter than everywhere else. The customers complained and said, "We're not going to shop here anymore until you get rid of those self checkout lanes." And they immediately got rid of them and said, "We're
So you're
sorry."
saying they were Dell aware of the situation?
Very yes.
Delaware.
Yes, but they immediately, the corporation apologized and said, "We're sorry. We'll start bringing back the cashiers."
That
So,
must be
so all it
nice.
takes, yeah, well, it's the people, the lemmings, the suckers that shop at those places because they put up with it. That's why the stores are going to keep taking advantage of them. That's
But
why I
that's
won't
the
go to Walmart.
problem.
I won't put up with it.
That's the problem, though. It's like lemming land we're living in now because I can't think of any major retailer here that doesn't have the self checkout line anymore. Like
Right.
they cut back on the cashiers, and it's like my local supermarket, like 3 blocks from here, which I probably shop at least once a week because it's handy because it's so close, right? And they've got like probably I don't know 8 cashier stations, and then they've got the self checkout. And I'll go there sometimes, late at night after I finish my work shift, and I'll go in there at like maybe 8 o'clock at night, and they've got like maybe one or two cashiers on, and the rest is like you'll go there and there's like a line of people at the self serve, and it's like this is BS. This is total
It
bull,
is.
right?
And you don't get any discount. You think they should at least if you're using that self checkout, you should get I think a minimum 20% discount on your purchases.
I agree. I agree. That's always pissed me off. It's like, give me something, right?
Yep, because
Yeah.
they're doing it to save labor. They're
Yeah.
saving on labor because they're not having to pay cashiers.
They're not paying wages. Exactly. So we do the work that somebody should be paid to do.
Yeah, and we're even bagging our own stuff. I mean, it's like total. If people would just for once grow a pair and turn their brains on and say, we're not going to put up with this and drop their groceries on the ground and everybody walks out the door, it would change overnight.
But that's not the way reality is, right? Most people
Nope,
won't do that, unfortunately,
no,
Bob.
they won't. I have many times, many times. I've just left my cart there, or if the groceries are in my whatever purchases are in my hands, I would drop them on the ground and I say, I'm out of here. And I'll make sure to tell them why as I leave. I remember the first time I did it was at Kmart. That's how long ago it was.
That's a while.
Yep,
We haven't had Kmart here in a long time.
same here. But that was where I first started doing that. Was at Kmart because Kmart
Yeah.
they were just like Walmart, very slow. The cashiers were mentally very, very slow. And I would just drop everything and say, I'm out of here. You guys need to open up another lane or I'm out of here. And if they wouldn't, I would just drop the crap and walk out the door. I
Mm.
never in my whole life put up with it. That's why still to my mind to this day it boggles the mind when I do see people putting up with it. I don't understand. It's like are these people they have nowhere else to go? They don't have a life. Isn't their time to them valuable? My time is much more valuable to me than to stand in a line at Walmart. I do the
That's
same
why
thing if I'm at a doctor's office. They make me wait longer than 15 or 20 minutes, and I will go up there and say, "Don't you think my time is valuable to me? How would you feel if I start charging you guys like you charge us?" I mean, I'll go off on them, but I don't
that's why
know.
I, that's why I seldom shop at Walmart. They're one of the worst. And get this, Walmart. I don't know about where you guys are, but Walmart discontinued having any bags available, like maybe 6 months, a
Oh
year ago.
yeah, they stopped that. You gotta
Yeah,
buy your own bags now, like
N-
reusable.
Yeah,
right.
they don't even have like reusable cloth bags for sale. They got zero bags at my store. So if you
Yeah.
don't bring your own bag, good luck carrying your groceries out in your hands because that's what you're going to end up having to do, right?
Yeah, it sucks. But what I'm hearing is they're trying to save the planet by reducing plastic.
Yeah, isn't that a good joke? Walmart trying to save the planet. That's hilarious.
You know what?
Well, in the
I
Bay
gotta
Area,
say,
It's even better.
well,
They
I
still
just
have
gotta,
they have cheap plastic bags, but they're only 50 cents a piece.
I just gotta say to Daniel, I remember when I was like a young person in the '80s, they phased out, paper bags because they had to save the forests and they had to save the environment. So they got rid of paper bags, which we had for many many years when I was young. And then they said, "Oh, well, we'll save the forest and we'll bring in plastic. That'll solve everything." And here we are, like, 40 years later, and it's like, "Oh, well, we're going to save the planet by phasing out plastic and we're going to bring back in paper bags," which a lot of stores here have now, right? So it's like, what the hell, guys? This is ridiculous. You were going to save the forest, and that was a good idea. And then all of a sudden it's not because plastic is evil, so let's get rid of plastic and bring back paper. And it's like, what the hell is going on? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's really ridiculous. It really is, guys. And another thing that was a ripoff for years when they actually still had plastic bags available at the local supermarkets is they were charging us money for every bag. We had to buy them, right? So it's like, okay, I spent $50 on groceries, but you guys can't give me a bag. I have to pay for the bag.
Well, right. Used to, they would factor in the cost of the bags with the groceries, and that's still how they do it. But double the profit they can charge you. But like you were talking about those paper bags, they had those for decades. And if you remember, those were made out of recycled paper. And what does recycled mean? So what they realized was, we're not making any money off these, so let's do the plastic routine. Then they realized we're not making enough off the plastic. Then they started doing, like in California, charging 25 cents and then 50 cents per each of those cheap plastic bags.
Wow.
And then they told us,
Never got it was like 5 cents here. It never got anywhere near that here.
Yeah, like I just moved in Bay Area, 50 cents a bag if you went to a grocery
That's
store.
awful. Wow, that's bad.
Well, the worst part about it is I remember when people voted it in, of course, all the far left liberals, they said originally when they were promoting it, saying, pollution, blah blah, pollution, save the earth.
Right.
They said,
Save
okay,
the
we're
whales.
gonna start charging the bag for the bags, the plastic ones, and then the money will go towards the environment or some sort of environmental protection, blah blah. Well, guess what? When they passed the to allow stores to start charging the bags, they said, "Oh, never mind, just let the stores keep the profit." And
That's
then guess what
okay.
happened?
I can top you on incredibly stupid.
Go ahead.
I had somebody at one of them self-checkout counters complaining that I was double bagging my 2-liter of pops. Now I was putting 2 in a bag.
Right.
Double bagging them.
I've done that many times. It's like
They
it's
were
the only way to be
complaining
safe,
about
right?
it. They were complaining about it, and I sat there and looked at them and said, "Hey, you put 2 of these in one, it rips. Well, you're
Right.
wasting bags." So I took one
Exactly.
of the pops out. I took one of the bags out. I put one in one bag, and I said, "Okay, is that better?" Yes.
Exactly.
I said,
It's the same.
"Isn't
Yeah,
that using the same number of bags, stupid?" Then
exactly.
turned around and walked away.
That's
Right.
hilarious. Oh, that's a good story, man.
It is. It's ridiculous.
Oh, we're living in
And
a
it's
crazy world,
it's
guys.
just like another example is like fast food. They have those packages of like ketchup, mustard, and then some of them like McDonald's will have those little square things of like barbecue sauce and honey mustard. When they charge you for your meal, like your burger and fries, all that stuff is taken into account in that meal price. But what they do, they say, well, let's try charging people 50 cents each on those things. They do it, people pay it, and then boom, they're making millions and millions off just those side packages of flavorings. Because people say,
Wow.
oh, they're 50 cents, give me 3 of them.
You guys are getting charged for those little packets. They're still free here
50
in
cents a
Canada.
piece. 50 cents
No,
a
they're
piece.
not.
Well,
Not at Wendy's.
Well, last time I went to Burger King or Wendy's, they through the drive-through, they'd throw some in the bag, no extra cost. So
I mean, all I gotta do when I go to Wendy's, all I gotta do is ask for hot sauce, and they give me like 5 or 6 packs of it. It's free.
I've never had to pay for any of that stuff, like ketchup, vinegar,
Well,
all
the
that.
little, okay, let me clarify. The little, let me try to explain the difference. The little flat packages like mustard and ketchup are usually free. But I'm talking about the things, the little square things that are almost like a little plastic tub.
Oh, okay,
It's got a peel off top. You know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
yeah, those ones. Those are nice.
I've never
Well, yeah,
had.
but those are 50 cents a piece here, or wherever you go here.
We don't have those here.
Oh,
I've never
yeah,
seen
yeah.
those.
Yes,
I think-
yes, we do. And we
think
do
you
charge them 50
maybe.
cents a piece.
Well,
I
I've
think-
never seen them
yeah,
in
yeah.
BC, Nemesis. Maybe it's a different, region, like regional thing.
Maybe.
It's like-
Well,
It's like I know back east, like in Ontario, they still have milk in bags, and we haven't had milk in bags in BC since like the late 70s, early 80s, probably.
Are you talking
no,
about?
same here in Alberta.
Are you talking about milk in clear plastic bags?
It used to be in clear plastic bags, and
Yeah,
you put it in a plastic holder, a jug kind of thing with a handle. But that was like back
Well-
maybe early 80s at
Well,
the latest.
what happened was they have since proven the light kills a lot of the healthy things in milk, a lot of the vitamins and stuff. So that's why they tend not to put milk in clear containers anymore because the light is not good for it.
Well, the bags were a pain in the ass anyway, to be honest. Like, I'd much just have a regular, 4-liter plastic jug. Like, that's the way I buy my milk. Because
Well, how about this? How about where soda bottles used to be made out of glass, and when you bought like a Pepsi or a Coke, you would open it up and it would stay cold for at least 15, 20 minutes. And then what they did is they went to plastic to save money, hiked up the price, and now when you buy a soda, it's not even cold maybe 3 minutes because it's paper thin plastic. Oh.
Yeah.
So we do got a bunch of chats
Oh,
pop, just in
Thank
case you
you.
want to read those. If not,
Thank
Where-
you,
where-
Gorilla. Where are you when I need you?
yeah. Where's Gorilla when we really need
I
him,
know.
right?
He's in the chat. I think he had a big day today, so I think Gorilla's taking it easy tonight.
Okay.
Gorilla says, "Hey, Pop, look up Nevada Rangers versus the protesters." Yes, that's for that Burning Man incident we were all talking about. Gorilla's Random Thought says, "I don't come from the working class. I come from the drinking class."
Hey, Gorilla, isn't that kind of the same thing?
Yeah, I guess pretty much, right? And Basil Battle Dragon says, "Are we going to do a stream on the Blob?" Yes, we are. Haha. Yeah, it's
And
old
the
and
ori-
pretty dumb. It is from the
And
70s.
the original Blob was from the 50s,
58. Yes, 1958. And there was
not 70s.
right. Well, there was a two from the 70s. One of them was directed by Larry Hagman, the guy from I Dream of Jeannie,
You're
Well,
kidding.
there was a sequel,
Son of
but then
Blob.
there was a remake, and that was 80s.
Right, but you're right, Deej. But there was the 58 version, then a sequel, then a 70s comedy directed by Larry Hagman, starring Larry Hagman.
Oh my God, I've
And
never
it's
heard of that
and
one.
it's
I've
as bad
never
as
seen
it
that
sounds.
one then.
Yeah, it's
It
as bad as
sounds
it. Well,
bad.
I have it on my server. One of these days, maybe I'll do a watch party. It's one of those where you can watch it out of curiosity.
All I know is I want Halloween off somehow. Pray for rain so I don't have to work, so I can watch Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Well, we'll be praying for you. Yeah, the first one is a masterpiece. Second one was okay, and then I didn't watch any of them. I did. Well, I do watch the ones after that, but I didn't like them. So the ones
I only saw the first one.
Well, the second one was good because of John Aston. I remember he's the one that carried the movie, and without him, and I don't think I would have even watched it because I do like John Aston from being in the Addams Family.
I'm still waiting though, Pop. Have you seen Shock Treatment?
Oh yeah, a couple of times. I saw it when it was brand new because I was a big Rocky Horror fan. So I remember anticipating and waiting for Shock Treatment to come out, and I saw it at the theaters. I think it was
That
only
thing
out for a
sucks.
week. Yeah, it did. Of course it did, especially after all the hype. After being
But-
Rocky Horror, you're thinking, my God, of course.
What was the one good song out of Shock Treatment though?
One good song?
There was one good song out of Shock Treatment.
Denton was okay.
No.
The song about the town, I guess. I'm trying to remember what the other
No,
songs
Little
were.
Black Dress.
Oh, was that the one that was sang by the lady from Suspiria, right?
Little Black Dress. Ba, ba, ba. That was the best one out of the whole damn movie.
And I know the guy that played Farley's Fabulous Flavors went on to do play a lot of bad guy roles and a lot of stuff.
But on that note, I'm taking my ass to bed because I'm tired.
Well, thanks for stopping by, DJ. I
But it was
appreciate
I was glad to actually catch you, Gorilla, when I could get up here and not have to deal with the things. And it was a pleasure to be up here.
Well, it was a pleasure to have you here, Deej. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. And good luck
I was
tomorrow.
gonna say, isn't it past your bedtime?
Shut up, LDG. Go to shut up. I was gonna go to bed. I seen my buddy
okay,
here
just-
on. I had to come here first.
That's fine. I ain't knocking you on that. I'm just saying. I know you got your job, your farm life. You gotta wake
I'll
up
be off
early
tomorrow, baby.
and go
I'll be
cut
off
that
tomorrow
soy.
'cause They're not gonna get that damn dryer fixed tomorrow because none of them guys wanted to answer the damn phone to go out and fix it. So
That's not good business.
I can. Well, they're freaking lazy.
Well,
So
sorry
I
to hear
can
that, Deej.
I can sleep in tomorrow,
Well, that's one good thing about it, then.
and then I
But
can harass LDG for the rest of the day.
Yeah, then he can come on the ground and harass me for the rest of the day. Exactly.
Right. So don't let them try to tell you any stories about big meeting. Don't do
Oh
it.
God, shut up about the no.
Don't let
Deej.
him.
I wasn't
Don't let
making
him.
that public.
Don't let him. Don't let him talk
Deej.
to you about a meeting.
All right. Okay. No one needs to know my
I
business.
popped in the backstage and told you were right for the day, so shut the hell up.
Again, I already know I'm right. It's you guys that need to figure that out.
Kiss my butt.
Hey. Oh.
Well, thank you,
Anywho.
Deej. I appreciate it.
Maybe I'll stream at some point tomorrow and do some ranting.
Well, if you do, I'll stop in. I have my
Well,
alerts on for your.
if you stop in, go ahead and pop up if the link's pinned to the top because, I'd love to have some people actually back me up for a change.
Okay, I will do that. I do have my alerts turned on for your channel.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you,
good
sir.
night,
You have-
all.
You too, Deej.
Later,
Thank
dude.
you.
Trouble.
Night, Deej.
Take care.
Good to see you, LDG. How are you doing there, sir?
I'm good.
Nice. So I have to ask, so what movie did you watch today on Mr. Londale's channel?
I don't remember the name.
Must have been a very memorable
But it was
movie.
an old movie. It was all right. It wasn't bad. I was working, so I mainly was just listening to the background and wasn't bad. I just can't remember what the name was, but it was an oldie.
I like the old classics, so yeah, no complaint here.
Well, he does
Yes.
a lot of them.
And Basil referenced, yes, Basil was asking about the Blob. We will be covering the Blob, Basil, but what I'll do is I'll show the original 1958 version, and then we will cover the remake. I will probably skip Son of Blob and the 70s Larry Hagman version because I don't think people are interested in seeing that. But yes, absolutely, the Blob is a classic, and it is a must-do. That's another thing too, is I've got to figure out how to reformat my channel and how I present videos because I'm trying to get monetized through YouTube monetization program, and I'm doing something wrong. I got to figure out exactly what it is. I'm working with YouTube now, hopefully, to figure out what it is, but it might be dramatically altering the way I present my videos. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that or how they'll turn up.
Maybe,
Well, whatever you got to do, Pop, I'll work with you, man. It's all good.
Well, I think what it's going to be is, like I said, I don't know the details of what I'm doing wrong because they won't tell you specifics. But what it might be is not being able to go through the movie as thoroughly as, unfortunately, we may not be able to go through the movie as thoroughly as we are doing. I might have to show a slide once every 5 minutes. I
Okay.
think that's the issue. I'm trying to find out exactly what it is, but by the looks of it, I might have to go in mass and start deleting a bunch of stuff from my channel if I ever want to get monetized.
Uh-oh.
But if I start deleting stuff, then I'm going to lose a lot of the watch hours as well. So I won't be qualified for monetization anyway. So it's a lose situation no matter what
Sounds
I do.
like
Can you just?
catch 22
It
situation.
is. Yeah.
You should just private those videos. Don't delete them.
You still lose the hours.
Yeah, but at least you don't lose the video itself. If you ever want to go back to it.
The whole point is it isn't about losing it though. That's what I'm saying. It's for him. It's about
Pop's
not
trying to gain
having the
monetization
videos there.
for it to actually have the watch time to be included. For sure, I get it, but we've
His
we've
best
just
bet
talked
is
about
either-
having lost video footage on many of our streams, and it'd be a shame to lose some of the stuff. If you were going to just delete it, it'd be better to just private it.
Yeah,
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
it'd be a shame
That-
to
that-
lose a lot of those really good videos for sure.
I know.
Well, you can
Yeah.
always download them or back them up on a third party platform like Odyssey. So you have
Back
that
'em up,
option.
yeah.
You
True.
have that
They
option. But
They already are on Odyssey. When I do the
yeah, if they're on
broadcast
Odyssey,
last night-
then I just think I don't think YouTube's gonna think, and I in this particular situation, privating them I don't think is gonna be an option because YouTube is still gonna see. To YouTube, a private video is no different than a public video.
yeah,
And
the fact that
if
they're
you're
there.
being rejected because of your content, it's not going to matter if it's hidden or not. You need to delete it, right? Didn't they tell you that you have to anyway? I think you meant they move it in.
Well, right, it didn't say what exactly what I need to do. Like, should I delete or should I trim? It didn't say. All it said was, that they're not I can't remember. I read it verbatim earlier when I was talking to you.
I could have sworn you said remove.
I could have, or dramatically alter. But then, like you say, I may not have the opportunity the way the editor works. I may not be able to
You might
go in
not
and
be able to
alter
edit it. Yeah, I mean, you have a choice. You either make a new channel, right, and try to monetize off that channel with new content that isn't marked as reused content, or keep your monetization on here, and like I said, just delete all your content and just do the content they want, and then have a second channel where you do the more in-depth, more fun channel made for loyal subscribers that will go over there, and you could have more freedom on a secondary channel, but on your monetized channel you have to keep it within coloring the
Well,
lines
yeah,
of YouTube's rules
right. Either way,
ultimatum.
it sounds like starting over.
I just want to interject for a minute, if I may. Jill recently got her 500, and she had her Friday stream about 500 plus subs and her monetization that she received. And I'm thinking, to my mind, I don't see Jill's channel much different than Pop's. Like, she has a lot of content, and she has a lot of stuff that she does a lot of slides, and she even plays videos at times. And so I'm a bit puzzled why Jill got monetized with no issue, and why Pop is having a difficult time getting monetized. I got to say, I'm a
Right,
little bit puzzled by it.
I'll
right.
give you
PvP,
I'll give you one clue: pronouns.
which is very possible. It could be.
Yeah, him, she, hers, higher chance of monetization over him, he,
So
him.
you're saying because Jill is a female, she's getting privileged treatment from YouTube.
I'm
I
saying it's
wouldn't
a
doubt it.
possibility.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, that's kind of sad if that's the case, to be honest, guys.
Well, that's the way it is. PvP. Welcome. I mean, have you
Welcome
been
to
asleep for the
today's
past
world.
40 years?
No,
I mean,
that just doesn't seem
this is
right.
the
I
way
mean,
it is. I mean,
they should treat all the channels and users
let
on
me
here
ask you,
equally.
PvP. Would you give free dinner to a female or a free dinner to a guy? Who gets it first?
It depends if they were friends.
You
Hey,
get
I've
what I'm
got
saying, though.
I
You
got
don't try to break the example. I'm trying to
I
make a
know some
point.
cool guys I'd have dinner with, but
If
I
Yeah,
two
get what
strangers came up
I
to
get
me,
what you're saying,
yeah,
but I'm just disappointed if that actually is the reality. That's
it
also what I'm
is the reality.
right. PvP, or
Unfortunately,
the other option, PvP. It could be because we discussed this earlier, and I thought about it heavily before I even spoke to LDG. It could be maybe I'm showing too many frames. Like I'm only skipping like one every 5 seconds, and maybe Jill's like doing one every 10 seconds. It could be something like that. Maybe
could be.
it could be
we
my
were
Star Trek
discussing that as
movement.
well. It could also be that I meant to mention this to you before when we were talking today. Check your titles for your videos, because if I remember correctly, I might be wrong, but you, I think when you do your reviews, you label your titles more like episodes than reviews.
You mean
Am
like
I wrong
instead
on
of just
that?
saying like Lost in Space review, like put the name of the episodes in instead?
No, I think you do that, don't you? Aren't your titles more like an episode name than a review?
Yeah, it'll be
Right.
the episode name and even on Lost in Space.
No. What it's currently what it is, it's the title it says Lost in Space reviews. The name of the episode is down in the description. That's how
But
it
it
is
also
currently.
have the episode number as well.
Okay, then I could be wrong on that. I was just a
If that
thought.
makes
Right.
a difference.
No, it does not have the episode number. The episode number is on the thumbnail. What it has right now,
Yeah,
it'll say Gilligan's Island Reviews, and it says the same title every week. I might have to change the titles, whereas if Gilligan's Island Reviews, The Jungle Boy, for example, like that, add the name of the episode in the title. Or Gilligan's Island Reviews number 24, number 25, number 26.
Yeah. Again, could be wrong. It was just a thought. I could be totally wrong. I wouldn't make a hard decision on
But
it.
yeah, that's what makes it
Um,
so difficult. I wish YouTube would be a little specific and just say, some of your stuff are named the same. It's not up right in the title. Just instead of just saying your channel has problems, it's like okay, but where?
Yeah,
Right.
it'd be nice if they had the decency to give you some guidelines as to what you need to fix, right? Like
They'd be liable then.
that would be the intelligent thing to do. Is just like let people know what's
It-
going on, but of course they're a
but they would
corporation.
be
So
liable. This. I'm tired of YouTubers like not understanding this. They're liable. They're not going to do that. It is stupid for them to do that. Not smart. If they start talking specifics, then they are liable by what they say. They can't be specific. Like that's built in. I mean, this is what's the first thing a lawyer tells you, right? You never be specific.
Well, not only that though, if it's an AI that's doing all the decisions, they're never going to be specific based on that either, right? The only time they're
Well,
ever
they
specific is
could.
if it's a
They
person.
could.
Yeah, but you're
They,
right
they
about
could. They
liability.
always could. But that's exactly what it is. If they told you exactly what the problem was, then they'd be able to be held by that standard. If they be vague, then they can't be held by a standard because it's vague.
Interesting.
Okay,
I mean, this goes the way it is for any company. If you read their terms, what terms and conditions are not vague?
Oh, they're all blanket terms,
They're-
right? Like they're trying to
all
cover as much
blanket.
as they can.
Exactly. Yes. So YouTube's not going to be any different thinking they're going to help you out like they're your, guardian trying to teach you how to fly. No, they're going to toss you off they're going to toss you off the cliff, and if you don't fly, that they're not going to say, "Oh, well, next time try this." No.
right.
They're just going to say, "Try again."
Before I spoke to you, LDG, I was on a chat with Google support asking these questions, and I'm going to read they sent a whole list of crap, but here's one of it where it pertains to what we're talking about. It says we do not have any available specifics and visibility on what might cause your rejection for your channel monetization. First, let me just set your expectation that a dedicated team who specializes in this concern did the review. Any materials reviewed and decisions made are out of our control, and we don't have access nor can affect any of it. You have the option to submit an appeal in your studio. Only choose the option if you haven't deleted any videos since your channel's application was rejected. So I think that's about as specific as they're ever going to get, unfortunately. I think such a way of telling me is just telling me to just delete everything and start over. And then hoping I don't do the same mistake again, whatever that mistake is.
well, that's the problem, Pop. You could delete everything and start over, but you could still be no further ahead because they could do the same thing again a year from now, right? So
I know.
it's like you don't know where you stand. So if you don't know where you stand and you don't know what the issue is, how the hell can you fix it? Is what my point was.
You could try growing some boobs.
Yeah, I was trying to think, okay, what am I doing differently than the other channel? Because there's obviously a lot of channels out there that are monetized. And so I'm trying to think, well, okay, then I need to start being like the other channels. So what am I doing differently? And it could be the slides. Like I said, maybe I'm too, like I was telling Gorilla, I was thinking maybe I should cancel the Gilligan's Island streams because it also said that part of what the problem was is that I'm just like, I can't remember verbatim what they said, but it's basically that I'm just repeating other stuff without adding anything new to it. And I'm thinking, well, maybe that's the problem. Like for Gilligan's Island, I don't put I don't put as much behind the scenes info with Gilligan's Island as I do with Lost in Space, for example. But I don't know if Lost in Space is triggering what's going on because Lost in Space, Jill does the slides on that. So if the amount of slides on her channel is not getting her in trouble, then I don't know if Lost in Space is one of the things getting me in trouble on my channel. It's so confusing. I don't know. Like I said, it could be the Star Trek bloopers because I don't add any commentary to those.
Well, that's the problem. It could be anything, but unless you're aware of what it is, it's like you can't really correct it, right?
Pretty much, or they want me to just give up on the monetization, which is probably going to have to be my only hope. I might have to say screw it with the monetization and just keep the channel as it is. And that sucks. The only reason I wanted monetization is I was hoping to pay for StreamYards because my income is so limited right now. And
what about a Patreon, Pops?
Patreon.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Yeah. That's a good point.
Oh, I keep
Nemesis
getting that.
made.
I keep getting that confused with Discord. Now, what's what's Patreon?
It's basically people pay you to be like it's subscribers. A lot of YouTube channels that aren't able to be monetized are still able to have Patreon, and people are able to support you through that. And there are different tier levels, and you can offer different things. Like the basic, I think the basic tier is like, I don't know, $1 or something. Like it can be very minimal. You just be like, oh, here, consider steps or donating $1 to my Patreon or whatever, and you can have like, I don't know, all the videos there that are all super long or short or whatever. It's just a way that people can support you monetarily outside of YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just want to add to what Nemesis is saying. I'm familiar with Patreon because I do watch some reaction channels that do movies and music, and quite often they'll do an edited version on YouTube of whatever film or album they're talking about, and they'll put the full thing up on Patreon, and subscribers will pay like $1 a month, like Nemesis mentioned, or maybe $5 or $10 a month to get extra, content, because there's different levels on Patreon, right? And a lot of channels are doing that now, actually, Pop.
Okay, so you can put videos on Patreon?
Oh yeah, that's the thing with Patreon. They don't seem to care about the copyright thing at all, from what I've seen. It's like people put all kinds of stuff up on there, and they don't
Yeah,
ever
like
seem to have a problem, right, Nemesis? Like,
yeah, from what I've seen, a lot of the channels that I watch, they get they're getting copyright strikes or they're getting flagged. So they're like, all right, well, I had to take down the video and like do a bunch of editing and censor it out. So if you want to see the uncensored version, go to my Patreon and become a Patreon member, and you can see it there, or you can see it a week ahead of when I like upload it to YouTube or whatever. Like just
Yep.
little perks like that.
Yep, exactly, a week ahead. Yeah, they do that. But I like, there's one guy that does music reviews. He does like, he'll pick a song, he'll listen to it, and he gives a really thoughtful analysis at the end. Like, it's one of my favorite channels, and he's got Patreon where sometimes he'll do an album reaction, but you'll look at the YouTube clip and it'll be like, this is an edited version, edited down for copyright. If you want to see the full one, go to my Patreon, and he posts a link, in his YouTube, under his YouTube, thumbnail. And the great thing about him, though, is he doesn't charge anything for his fans. You can just go to his Patreon and actually watch the whole damn album review for free, and he's a pretty cool guy. So, but yeah, I mean, Patreon's a very, very interesting thing.
Can you do live streams like what we're doing now?
I do not know. I'm not aware if you can do live streams on Patreon.
So
Neither do I, Pop. That's out of. I don't have a Patreon.
that's what I was going to
So-
say. So
Yeah.
if I was asking, like, let's say if I was asking you guys right now, okay, donate to my Patreon, you guys would have to have Patreon accounts in order to do that, right?
Yeah, but at that point, like if it's supporting a friend or supporting someone I like, yeah, I would do it. Like it's
Well, I
no
know,
different than.
But most people won't. Most people don't like to use another third party. Sign on for a third party something. I don't know. I mean, I could always try it, but I just don't know if people would be willing to create another account.
It actually seems like Patreon's gotten pretty big over the last while, though, because there's a lot of channels I sub to that do have Patreon accounts and add, extra, content there. And it seems like, they do get quite a few people that decide to sign up and join and pay, the monthly fees just to watch the extra stuff, right? So it's something to think about and look into for sure.
Well, I will. It's just that it's too bad if we can't do live streams, because that's a lot of what my channel's about.
Yeah, I have no idea if the live streams are possible there. I really don't. I don't know that.
Just something you gotta investigate.
Yeah, just Google Patreon and read up on it, right? I mean, I'm sure there's lots of info out there, I would think.
A
Yeah.
beginner's guide to Patreon type of thing.
Patreon for dummies.
And I could
100%.
And I could just pull the stuff from YouTube here and just put it on to Patreon. If if you can put videos on Patreon. Of course, it would take a while to get everything transferred over, but I could do that. Like for example, like I said, if I'm doubting Gilligan's Island, if I'm thinking Gilligan's Island is what's triggering my monetization, then maybe I could just pull all of them and put them on Patreon, something like that, right?
Totally.
Yeah, possibility for sure.
It's just that eliminates my live streams is all, which is my channel. My whole channel's live streams pretty much. Or what I have to do is just, yeah, it'd be no live streams. If Patreon, that's just it. I've seen what you guys are talking about, where they say, if you want to see the full version, watch it on my Patreon. I've seen that. But I've never heard of anybody doing live streams on Patreons. And if that's the case, then I wouldn't have that anymore. I would have to completely do a reformat of my channel and how I look at it, I guess.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you're dealing with such an unknown thanks to YouTube's vagueness. It's like, I think you're just going to have to kind of like feel your way along and maybe try, doing some different things, taking some stuff down, seeing what might work. Moving it to Patreon if that's an option. I mean, I think you're kind of walking into unknown territory here, where you're going to be like an explorer in the internet world, right? Trying to figure all this crap out, unfortunately. So,
Well, I'm trying to figure out what am
Yeah,
I
Pop.
doing wrong. Yeah, I'm trying to
It
figure out
says
what
you
am I
can.
doing. Go ahead.
Sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It does say you can stream on Patreon.
can you?
Yep.
Oh, cool. I never knew that. I learned something tonight.
Yeah, it's called crowdcasting.
So the only
Interesting.
hurdle. Well, then I wonder because like right now when we simulcast StreamYards, we'll automatically simulcast to Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, but I don't know if it'll go to Patreon or is it strictly only to Patreon. That's what I need to check out next, I guess. And then it's another hurdle would be trying to convince everybody to if they don't already have Patreon accounts to open one just so they can come and watch my stuff. I don't know if people are going to be willing to do that or not.
Maybe, but then it also opens them up. It's like, oh, well, if I have to do this, now I can support other people. It might just be that extra step that you need to watch other people's stuff too. You never know, Pop. You could be that deciding factor on somebody else too. The unknown influence.
Yeah, you're right about that one. And I guess with Patreon, you don't have to reach a certain amount before you're monetized.
No, it's literally
Patreon is a paid membership.
exactly. It's like you can pay like $1, you can pay $5. They have different tier levels if you want to do that. Like that's the whole point of you having to sign up is so you can.
I did. I clicked on it now. I'm checking it out.
Well, most of the channels I sub to here on YouTube that do have a Patreon account, Pop, they'll basically start off usually with the $1 a month subscription fee, where you get the basics, right? You get like the basic access to a limited amount of content. And then often they'll have like a $5 tier and a $10 tier and maybe a $20 tier. I've seen some that go up to like maybe $100 a month if they got a huge amount of extra goodies.
Well, I don't mind that. Right, I don't mind that if people are donating, and which would help me cover the cost of my monthly fee. Then it'd be even better.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's basically subscription where you got to pay every month, whatever tier you're on, right? Whether it's $1 or anything higher, you basically.
Well, right now, I'm not paying for YouTube, but I'm paying $25 a month for StreamYard.
Yeah, right. StreamYard's not free for sure. Yeah.
Right, and I'm gonna catch up on the chat really quick. Sorry, everybody in the chat. We're not trying to ignore you.
Ola
Greg says, "Hello, everyone." Says Ola Greg. Good to see you, Ola Greg.
And good to see you, Ola Greg.
This shows how much behind I am. Deej says hi, and that's like almost 45 minutes ago.
It's a while back.
Basil Battle Dragon says, "Hey, Ola, welcome. Edge of Time. Hello, Edge of Time. Wally's furniture is trash. No loss, PvP. I agree there." Basil also says Walmart is a pain in the ass to shop in. Kroger is doing that now too.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. In fact, another thing that I noticed here in the Walmarts is I don't remember the last time I saw a Walmart that was selling meat. They don't have those anymore. Although, I mean, you'll see like lunch meat packages, but like you can't like they don't have ground beef or any of that kind of stuff anymore.
Oh, we still do have it here in Canada at the Walmart. They sell all kinds of meat.
Not here. Ola Greg says Hotel California store. You can never leave. Right? Yeah, that's it, huh? Right. Just get in line and you can never leave. Basil Battle Dragon says people eventually stop shopping Walmart. Customers are already mad about the stupidity of the self-checkout crap. Kroger's already losing customers because of it. I wish Basil, but it didn't seem like it because still, even with all the issues going on with Walmart, they're still making record profit. And I still see people, like I said, you can go into Walmart right now and you'll see lines with 50 or more people in. So I don't know. I don't. If people are protesting and not doing it, I don't think it's enough to really get their attention. At
Well,
least that's my opinion.
Walmart sucks now. I hate Walmart.
Ola Greg says, "Hey Basil." Yeah, I agree with that too. PvP. Same here. Ola Greg says, "I like Walmart. I don't have any of those problems. I can get free delivery and scan and go, easy peasy." Well, Greg, I was going to say that's one thing that Walmart does, which is good, is I can order some stuff online and then I can pull up at their parking lot and say, "Oh, I'm here," and they'll bring the stuff out, and I don't have to actually even step foot in the door. That is one thing which is a hell of a lot easier, and I do that sometimes when I can get to Walmart. For me, I'm in a small town, and the nearest Walmart's over 30 miles away, unfortunately. In fact, I was looking at something today I would like to buy. I was thinking, I wish they would deliver it to my house. And they won't deliver it. It says pickup only. But currently, I have no way to get there, so I guess I won't be buying it from them. So I have to mostly do all my shopping through Amazon. And Basil says, myself, I don't deal with it. I have a small amount of items. I'm okay using it. But if I have a basket full, I'm not dealing with it. I've left the entire basket sitting in the middle of the floor. See, that is me right there. Hail to you, Basil. Yes, that's exactly it. Let's leave it on the floor and let them deal with it. Basil says,
I always thought the self checkout station was convenient because you don't have to wait in line. I mean, you don't have to wait those long lines. The self checkout station is like, you can just go and just scan and buy.
Right, but I've seen long lines for the self checkout, and then I've seen people that at the self checkout that they're having trouble scanning the items, and they take a lot longer than if you'd had somebody at a register. Or, as we've all been hearing, people when they go through the self checkout, they make a mistake scanning things. Next thing you know, they're being chased down and arrested for shoplifting.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Go to YouTube. There's plenty of videos on YouTube.
That's why you always make sure to get your receipt.
Oh no, it doesn't do any good. It doesn't do any good because here's what it is you always have the few people that ruin it for everybody. So you have people that will go up to the self checkout. They'll have like a TV and a bottle of peanut butter. They'll scan the peanut butter, but not the TV, and they'll walk out and say, "Oops, I'm sorry. I thought I scanned the television." So it doesn't do any good to have that receipt. If you don't scan one item that's $1, they'll get you arrested for shoplifting.
Well, if
they're even sending the cops out to your house.
If you didn't scan the TV, then you are kind of basically shoplifting, aren't you?
No, but I'm just giving you an example. But you can buy 2 bottles of peanut butter and only scan one, and they'll arrest you for shoplifting.
Well, I scan every item. That's just what I do. I scan everything.
Right. Most of us will be careful. Yeah. But I'm just saying there are people that make honest mistakes and they get arrested.
Well, they should actually just make them go back and scan the item and pay for it. That'd be easier.
Right, but when it comes down to it, it's not us, the customer. It's not our fault. We're not trained for that, are we?
Yeah, I get your point. I do get your point,
right?
Bob. Yeah.
But it's like I think the last thing they should be doing is blaming innocent customers who make honest mistakes.
Well, what pisses me off with Walmart is they have a policy. Like I've never personally seen it, but they can just pull a customer over with a shopping cart full of stuff and demand to see their receipt.
A lot of stores do that to every customer. They do that to every single customer.
Yeah, so they'll double check that you paid for every single item, which I think is a total
No,
insult.
that's totally that is strictly for his intimidation, because all you got to do is watch the person. Okay, first of all, those are supposed to be greeters, the ones that say hello when you walk in, not when you walk out. Anyway, watch them. What they do is they look at your receipt. They don't bother comparing it to what's in your basket. They only do it to stop you. It's intimidation to hopefully prevent people from stealing, but it's not like Costco where they actually look in every bag and compare it to your receipt. They don't do that at Walmart. They just look at the receipt and they mark it off with like a Sharpie pen and then say, go about your way. They do not look into your bags. So I've even been there at the store questioning them. Then what is the point? Why do you do that then? What is the point when you guys aren't compared to what's on the receipt? It's strictly for intimidation.
Yeah, it's a good way to lose your customer base, because if they ever did that to me, I'd be the last time I ever shopped in there.
No, right. And I've seen the debate where people say, well, they don't have the right. Once I pay for my stuff and I have the receipt, it's my stuff. Unfortunately, they do have the right. I don't agree with it, but they do have the right because it's their store. And as long as you're on their property, they do have the right, unfortunately, even though you paid.
Yeah, you're in private property, not a public space. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So they're allowed to treat you any way they want. Which, by the way, that's why I am not and never will be a Costco member. Basil Battle Dragon says, "Yeah, put it in it and put it in the aisles and walk out of the store."
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't like Costco, dude?
Hell no! Hell no! Hell no!
I don't know.
Costco.
My
Costco.
parents go there like all
I
the
know.
time.
I know a lot of people do, but Costco, their motto is "Everyone's a thief until proven otherwise." That's the motto at Costco. No, my mother used to go there before she died, and I hated it when she would drag me in there with her. She wanted, well, you want to go to Costco? I said, no. First of all, you got to stand in line to get into the store, which is despicable. Then you got to stand in line to go out because they treat everyone like a thief. I remember one time, oh my goodness, my mother had this purse that was like 10 pounds huge. She had all this crap in it. She paid for her garbage, groceries, whatever the hell it was. And then as we're heading to the doors, she sticks her damn receipt in her purse. We get to the doors, they ask for the receipt, and she goes, oh, I put it in my purse. And there she is digging it, and they made her empty out her entire purse. And it took us 20 minutes. And I told that guy off. I remember she bought a big thing of ketchup because we were having a barbecue. And I told the guy, I said, I should take this damn ketchup and toss it over towards her. Right over on the other side of the wall was all their television sets in the television electronic area. I said, I should take this goddamn thing and toss it over there. And that's when I yelled at my mom in front of everybody at the store because she embarrassed me all the time. I was so mad at her. I said, damn it, this is why I'm never coming you back to this fucking store. I told her before I'm not going to that store. Stop trying to convince me to go to that store. And I told her I'm never coming back to this goddamn Nazi store. I told her that. I told everybody in front of it. All of them. And that was my last time stepping foot in that damn store. Treating everybody like a thief. And the people get paid. You get people, oh my God. People paid to get treated like a thief.
That never happened at the Costco that I go to in Brampton.
Oh no, because you guys,
Ontario.
Because you guys showed your receipts like good little boys, right?
I don't think so. I think we
okay.
just bought it and just
try
left.
it once. Try it once and say, "Oh, I don't know what I did with my receipt," and see what happens, and then get back to me. All right?
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't been there in a long time, actually.
Yeah. Tell your mom and dad to try that one of these days. Just say, "Hey, I don't know. I can't remember what I did with my receipt," and get back to me with what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta hold on to your receipts, otherwise, like even at Walmart, I remember even at Walmart, like one time, this happened only a few times, but one time I walked out and they were like, "Can I see your receipt?" And I'm thinking, dude, stop bothering me, I gotta go. But he wants to see my receipt, and he's just pestering me to see my receipt, and I'm saying, dude, I lost it, sorry, and
Sorry, go ahead and finish. I was going to say, you don't have to actually agree to that. That's just nothing. You can just say no, thank you, and just walk right by him.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yes,
cool.
you're not legally obligated to show your receipt to the people who just freaking gave it to you.
Hey, what I don't like is, I'm sure you guys have all been at any Walmart. You've noticed that the self-checkout is within right there, 15 feet away from the person checking the receipts. So a lot of times the people checking the receipt are looking over at the self-checkout lane. They see you pay for your stuff, and then as soon as you walk up, can I see your receipt? Is that, what is the point? You just saw me pay for everything.
Because they're not targeting you. They're trying to target the people who are trying to steal.
No, but by doing that, they're intimidating everyone.
I know that.
Out of
but you already
people,
paid. They don't care. You already paid for it. They already got your money.
I know,
they don't care.
Like, out of like 20 people, if one person's shoplifting, they're going to intimidate all 20 people.
Yes, and they know those 20 people have no choice but to come back because they're sheep.
Well, yeah, except for me. Like I said, I don't. I'm the one that will drop the crap in the aisle like Basil.
Oh yeah,
not come back.
Your calculated risk. To them, they say, okay, 5% might actually have morals and not come back, but 95% of people are sheep. And they're going to come back. And then they tested that. They had their trial period, and they found out they're right.
Right, and then
And
it's like,
they-
okay, we lose one customer, no big deal to
But-
us, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though, is because you're so good-hearted, you think you actually have to show them your receipt. You don't have to. That's why they're asking for it and not telling you for it. They're
Right, I know,
tricking
right?
you into thinking that they're making you feel like you have to do it. But in reality, you don't. You just walk right by them. Thank you. Have a nice day. I already paid for everything. I was on camera when I paid for everything. I was in the open when I paid for everything. You gave me the receipt for everything. I do not need to double check. You're a free man. You're a free person. Once you buy your thing and you're on your way out, you're done. They can't stop you.
Yeah, but what's worse is like Costco, where you're paying them to treat you like a thief. I mean,
Well,
you're
everyone.
paid
Well, so what?
supposed
Yeah, but
membership.
everyone's treating you like a thief. Like every company today treats you like a thief.
Yeah, but I'm not going to pay them to
It's-
do it. I mean, if they're going to treat me like a thief, they can treat me like a thief, but I'm not going to pay them to treat you like a thief. Costco's the one that charges you to pay you to treat you like a thief.
Yeah, you got that yearly fee to shop at Costco, right?
Yes. So yeah, you what you're basically doing is you're saying, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" And here's $5 for kicking me in the ass.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
a good one. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I went in a store that didn't have cameras on the ceiling. Like it's everywhere now, right?
It is, yeah, it's everywhere.
And they don't even ask you for your receipt. Like you can have a regular person and they'll still ask you for your receipt. The whole asking for your receipt thing has nothing to do with self-checkout.
No,
They were asking
yeah,
for
you're right.
receipts
You're right.
before self-checkout.
Right. You're right. Even if you go through a cashier, right, they still do ask for
Yeah.
receipt. It's correct. I think it's just
But
intimidation.
no, you're right. Yeah, you're not obligated to give them jack shit. The only thing you're obligated to give them is the money for the things you walk out with.
Well, okay, now we agree with Walmart, but what happens with Costco if you try to say no?
Okay, well, Costco's because they're a membership,
Right.
so you could technically lose your membership, and they found a way around that. So if it's a membership, it's another thing. But you can easily go to your manager and just say something and say you don't want to do it, or ask them nicely and see if they what they tell you.
Well, yeah,
But
but
the membership things are weird.
right. Even if you go to the manager, you know what they're going to say. They're going to say, "Well, we can't let you just walk past and let everybody else see that." Then they'll all want to walk past. So yeah, they won't let you do that. I'm just
Well, you
saying,
don't know unless you ask.
Right, but I doubt. I'm just saying, I doubt Costco will let you do that. I doubt they'll let you get out that door without showing the receipt. They probably got an alarm, or because they have
Well,
radio.
and another thing too, like when I go to Costco's, they don't actually. They just want to see the receipt. Like they don't even like look at you. Like I go to Target and they're like looking at stuff, but I go to Costco's. They just want to see a piece of paper that looks like a receipt. At least that's my experience. I've never gotten to Costco's where they look in my shit and then they look through everything. Sorry,
I did. That's
but
what
when
I
go to Target or something,
right?
they're a pain in the butt. They'll sit there and they'll start check marking stuff. Listen, lady, I ain't got time for this.
I haven't seen them ask for receipts at Target yet.
Yeah, we have them over here.
Much.
Yeah, Target's bad.
Yeah, one time I remember. I don't know. This was a couple of years ago because I don't go to Target very often either. It's usually that's for women. We all know that. But they have those security guards standing right by the Target doors, and I saw this old couple walking out, and they were telling the security guard, "Don't you want to see our receipt? Don't you want?" And he was like, "No, lady, I don't know what you're talking about." Yeah, but don't you want to see our? They were so programmed. That old couple was so programmed. They were confused why the security guard did not want to see their receipts. And the security guard was like, "We don't know what you're talking about, lady. Just move it."
Yeah, train those sheep well.
Yep, exactly. But but the last time, like I said, was years ago. My mother passed away at least 20 years ago. But when at that point, Costco, they would compare every item in the receipt to every item in your cart. That's why the line was so long trying to get out the door. But I don't know. It's just something I would. I mean, like I said, I won't do it at Walmart, and I especially not going to do it at a place where I pay them to treat me like that. So it boggles the mind. I know some people like that. I guess they like it, But you have to stand in line just to get in the store? Oh, hell no. No. Unless everything in that store is free, no thanks.
Yeah, I've never shopped at Costco because I never bothered to, buy a membership. But I know a lot of times I'll drive by there on the weekend when I'm running around doing errands, buying groceries or putting gas in the car and whatnot. I'll drive by there and there's like this huge, line of cars just trying to get into the parking lot
Yeah,
for,
blocking the street, right? Blocking
for
the main
Christ's
street.
sakes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like it's ridiculous. Like I don't know how these people think they're getting some kind of great quality service here because it seems like they're
You
not. As
might
far as
save a few bucks every here and there, but not enough to make it. Because with Costco, the way it is, that if you're planning on going to Costco, you have to make a day of it. And it's like, who wants to do that? Like I said, my time is much more valuable than that. There's
yeah,
no grocery store I want to spend an entire day there just to buy a few items.
yeah. Generally, if I'm shopping for groceries, I'm in and out in like 30 minutes or something, right?
Right.
So you
Here's how it is at Costco.
know,
You stand at an ungodly long line to get in. You get your groceries, and then you stand at an ungodly line to pay for your items, and then a third line to get out the door. I'm not exaggerating.
yeah, it's
I
not
Three
very
think
good.
long
I
lines.
remember something like that. Like it was a long line to the cashier. That's what I remember.
Yeah,
And you
but
gotta
yeah,
pay. You
but
gotta
remember,
pay a
there's a line to
membership.
get. Remember, there's a line to get in, a line to get to the register, and then a line to get out the door. That's three long, slow lines.
Yeah, and you have to pay for like I don't know, like $100, $50 or $70 membership just to buy there.
Well,
I'm like,
they have different tiers, of course. There's like silver, gold, platinum. Depending on
yeah.
how much you want to throw money you want to throw at them for no reason.
So I'm just like, the last time I was like, well, it's not worth it to spend so much money just to shop there.
Correct.
But I'm hearing people say, well, it's just a one membership for like, I think for a year. It's for an entire year.
Yeah, per year.
So it's like, I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's just once a year.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So yeah, it's okay. It's only once a year. Yeah, right. I know. I hear that a lot too.
yeah, but you know what? They have this really nice restaurant
I know.
inside.
That's what a lot of people like is the food court. The hot dogs
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
pizza.
yeah. They have the most delicious pizzas and the most delicious hot dogs and French fries, and it's just so good. I really have to go
No,
there.
but if I liked the food court that much, I'd pay for the membership and just walk into the food court, grab my food, and walk out. It's the shopping experience which is living hell.
Well, another thing I just want to interject, guys, that I only went to Costco maybe once or twice because my cousin has a membership, so I went there with him a couple of times. And one thing I did notice is like a lot of the stuff they sell is like massively huge quantities.
It is
It's like it's like if you're a single person like I am, it's like you don't want to get like 5 gallons of ketchup, right?
right. That's just it. A lot of
You
it's
know?
in bulk. Right.
Yeah, it's bulk. It's like bulk heaven. If I was married and I had like 3 kids, it'd be perfect. But I'm not, so it's like
Well,
there's no point in me shopping there.
and certain sections of the store, it's also okay. There's certain items where you can save money. If you buy 15 cans of chili beans, yeah, you're going to save $2 or $3 over a regular store. But like their meat department, Costco's meat is always higher than everyone else's.
Really, I did not
Yes,
know that.
their electronics, you might find a sale every now and then. So what you have to do is you have to watch for really like prices that are being discontinued or products being discontinued
Uh,
or only a certain. You have to like I haven't been to Costco in years, but I know people who still shop there, and they can tell you, yeah, you can save on this item, and this item, and this item, but not on this and this and this and this. So Costco lures you in saying you're going to save on everything when you're actually not. If you actually compare prices to other stores,
right.
like I
Well, the
said, and
thing is,
their meat and their bakery is extremely, extremely expensive.
really, well, that's good to
Yes.
know. Thing is, basically I'm one of these people that I online
Sorry.
I check all the weekly flyers online because we do have an online site here in Canada that is pretty good with all the weekly flyers that come out. And I'm always basically looking for the sale items because that's the way I shop, right? I buy
Excuse
it when
me.
it's cheap because you can save a hell of a lot of money buying stuff when it's on sale that week, which I have over many years.
I do
So
the same too. I do the same too. I go by the ads.
the thing is too, there is one supermarket here that's really good. It's called the Independent Grocer, which is the one that's like 3 blocks from me. And if you get a membership card, which I got a couple years ago, you can get huge discounts. Like on, you can save like often you'll save like 40% off the regular price for people that don't have a card. And it's not just you can save hundreds of dollars a month shopping, but it also adds up really good. It's a really good points program that adds up quite quickly. And once you get up, to 10,000 points, that's like $10. You can get, $10 worth of free groceries, right? So it's a really good system. Like most points programs, I think are crap, but this one is actually pretty damn decent, in my experience, anyway.
No, I agree. I agree. Lemon Pie says, I love self checkout because I can check myself out faster than the slow moving cashier who is gossiping with the bagger. And yes, I agree with that, Lemon Pie. And Lemon Pie, just like you, me, I find the self checkout faster because I know how to do it. My only problem with the self checkout is when you have people in front of you who don't know how to do it, and they're trying to look for the barcode, or they're scanning something over and over, or they're having issues and they're slowing it down for everybody else. But yeah, I agree with self checkout tends to be faster. And yeah, some people tend to stand there and gossip with the cashiers on and on and on where you feel like throwing something at them. But yeah, I agree with that too. Basil says, when I was a merchandiser working in Kroger years ago, oh, I have a story to share about Kroger. The managers would step in and start checking people out instead of leaving people standing in a long line at self checkout. But today, and I'm sure he's going to continue that, Edge of Time says, I prefer touching my own groceries. Can't count how many times I've seen cashiers lick their fingers and touch the money, even when wax is provided. Yes. Oh, I've seen them do that at fast food places. I've seen them where they'll touch the money and touch their fingers and run their fingers through their hair and then make your taco at Taco Bell. Well,
Well,
Greg puts in a link.
that's a
Sorry,
sad
go ahead.
reality, though. I mean, people are handling cash all day in those places. So if they're handling your groceries, it's not going to be like totally uncontaminated, right?
Or that's why they say wash your fruits and vegetables and all that crap before when you get home.
That's
I'm
true.
just about to stop going to restaurants because number one, it's too expensive. Every time I go to a restaurant, I end up spending $20 on a meal, 18, $20 a meal. No wonder why I run out of money so quickly.
Uh-huh.
And I remember there were times when I go to restaurants. There were these girls. They were touching their hair over and over and over, just waving their hair around, and then they were making my hamburgers without
Yep.
even washing their hands.
Yep. All the time. Yep.
I don't want their hair and their dandruff in my hamburger. That's disgusting.
Yep.
I have a story even worse than that, Daniel. I went to McDonald's once, maybe a year ago. I walked in during my, lunch break at work because it was like a McDonald's, like a, 5-minute walk away from where I worked, right? So I walked over. I go and I order a burger and fries, and I noticed the chick at the till has got like these open sores all over her arms and hands, right? Like just red, open, like
Nice.
horrible looking sores. And I'm thinking, how did this woman ever get hired to work in the food service industry with this condition, right? And then after she takes my money and I've ordered, I see her go back over into the kitchen and she's like, doing burgers and dishing out fries, and I'm thinking, good lord, good lord, I hope she doesn't do mine. It was horrific. I'll
Of
never
course.
forget that experience. It was just god awful, man. It's horrible.
It is. And by the way, it is illegal, but they don't crack down on it because
I don't
they're
get it.
definitely right. If they touch money or touch themselves, they're supposed to wash their hands before they touch food, but they don't. They never do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's too many things that are very, very much lax, unfortunately.
Yep. Basil Battle Dragon says lazy ass managers hide in their offices instead of helping customers. Yes, they do. They sit there in front of the monitors or they're on their phones. Olga says funny Kirk versus Gorn video. Yes, I showed that during when Anna Driven Jill, she does the TOS reviews, and when we covered the arena, I showed that episode or that commercial with Kirk and the Gorn playing video games.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I've seen that one a long time ago. That's hilarious.
Edge of Time says as if. You know, it's too bad they never made a good Star Trek game based on TOS, based on their episodes. I think that would sell really well. Because back when, because I played all kinds of Star Trek games ever since back in the Simon Schuster text-based games, and that's the only time they had the TOS games. And then by the time video games really hit their stride with PlayStation, Sega, Sony, and all that, then it was all TNG. And it's like, it's a shame. I wish they would have one good TOS game
Well,
with today's technology.
I think the problem, Pop, is that most of us old school, original fans of TOS were, born long before the video game age arrived, right? Because I can remember
Yeah,
by the time video games became big, I was off to college and I didn't have time to even think about that stuff, right? So it seems a lot of folks actually got introduced to Star Trek through TNG. So I can kind
yes.
of understand why there's more, TNG stuff as far as gaming.
No, it is true. And Gorilla Rampart says everything is wrapped in plastic. Well, Gorilla, not like produce. Like if I go get some red bell pepper, green bell pepper, that kind of stuff, those aren't wrapped in plastic. You know, like lettuce is, yes, but those aren't. So it depends on what you're buying. Ola Greg says plenty of free plastic bags in Texas.
You're a
Texas
lucky
is,
person.
yeah, Texas. I wish I could live there. Texas is, well, used to be and still kind of is the place to go. But you know, I've said it before, Ola Greg. You guys have set so many Californians and so many illegals flooding in there. It's not going to be the Texas that you know and love for much longer. Deech is not everything. I don't wrap Mr. Happy in plastic.
Here, I got another.
Then he wouldn't be happy anymore.
He's happier. He's happier when he's free range, right?
And Suzanne says, Ola Greg, hello. And Ola Greg says, hi, Suzanne. Ola Greg says, I will be lurking. My phone battery is low. All right. Well, I'm just glad you could join us, Ola Greg. Gorilla says, tired. Just got home a bit ago. That's what I figured. Like I said, it was a long day. He had a birthday party with the kids, and they were all swimming and everything, which actually sounds kind of fun. I wish I could have been there. Ola Greg says, Kirk versus Gorn, part 2. Ola Greg, later, Gators. Later, Ola Greg. Take care. Have a wonderful night. Battle of Battle Dragons says, all good. And Gorilla says, depends if he is getting some after. I think he's talking about Deej. That's probably it, says Gorilla. And Gorilla says, I just summarized the scene. Got it. I think he's talking about his streams. And Basil Battle Dragon says, YouTube is a pain in the ass. I think they do this randomly just to F with the people. I wouldn't be surprised. Google is worthless. They don't want us to enjoy ourselves with these streams. And I'm thinking I'm just a little pissant stream. That's why they figure they're not losing anything either. And Suzanne says, Basil, hello. And Basil says, nope, Patreon. I think Patreon takes a cut of everything. They are the same as YouTube. They will demonetize you the same as YouTube. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, Basil. So you guys heard that. And Basil says it's a bullshit scam.
I've got to say, all the channels I sub to that have Patreon accounts and give extras, to their subscribers, I've never heard any of them complain about anything like that. They just have their tiers where you pay so much every month, depending on how much you decide you want to pay. And I've never heard anybody complaining like that about it. So it's a mystery to me.
The only one I've heard that may be safe as far from censorship or any of that crap is Rumble. But I don't know what their requirements are to be monetized, and nobody goes to Rumble. I've got my videos. Yeah, I've got my videos simultaneously posting to Rumble, and they're not getting any views. There's just nobody there, unfortunately.
Well, sometimes websites are like that, right? They just don't attract, viewers.
Right. Well, everybody's on YouTube. And Battle says Telegraph doesn't prevent you from posting whatever you want. Telegraph. Now that one I have not heard of. How many are there? Geez, I'm losing count. Suzanne says no, you cannot do lives on Patreon. Okay, so there is no live streaming on Patreon. That's what I was afraid of. And Basil says people are using it to post info about the Russia-Ukraine war. Oh, God, more politics. And Basil says, but again, they are very restrictive like YouTube. That makes more sense. Yeah, that sounds more believable, unfortunately. And Gorilla Rampart says, we have meat here and no gates. You guys probably don't have the thievery rate like we do over here in the West either, Gorilla. Basil Battle Dragon says, "Where are your papers? We are your papers." And Gorilla says, "That's reverse psychology by offering receipt. They get confused and decline, and they walk out with a bunch of free shit. LOL." And Basil says, "Yep, in Houston, Kroger has a couple for a free box of Kroger cereal, any size or type, and Kroger coffee, 24 to 32 ounce for $5.99." Yeah, I'm going to share this real quick before I forget about Kroger. Kroger is the same company that owns Albertsons, Ralph's, and Safeway. And Safeway, unfortunately, there's one here in this town that I live in, and that's the only grocery store at Safeway. So if you want groceries, you have to go to Safeway. And Safeway consistently overcharges people. They're extremely fraudulent, and it's all intentional. There's articles where they got busted over in California and the Bay Area for overcharging people, and the same went on in Oregon. And I noticed that it was happening here because I would watch the sales. I would check off everything I wanted. I'd go to Safeway and buy everything I wanted. After I get out, the last time I went grocery shopping there, they overcharged me $35 and something. Because I'll give you an example. They had rice roni. They had 5. They were $1 a piece, so they were 5 for $5. And I paid for them, got out the door, and saw that they charged me full price. So what Safeway does is they will not recognize, and I'm sure it's for Kroger, same for Kroger, Albertsons, and Ralph's, and Vons. Anyway, they're all owned by the same company. What they'll do is they won't give you the sales price. They'll charge you the full price, and not only that, they upcharge on amounts. So, like they had bell peppers 4 for $5. I grabbed 4 bell peppers. They charged me for 6 bell peppers. They had onions for 98 cents a pound. I bought 2 onions. They charged me for 4. I've never, ever been undercharged for anything. It's always overcharged. When they do it, I bring it to their attention, and they're very casual about it. Like, "Oh, okay, we'll give your money back." And I'll say, "Look, aren't you guys going to do something about this? Why don't you fix it?" "Oh, well, sorry, sir." And I'll specifically ask them again, "Why don't you fix this?" "Oh, we're sorry, sir." So what I finally did, was it last week or the week before, I filed a report with the Attorney General's office of Nevada or
Nice.
of Arizona.
Nice.
I filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office of Arizona, and they sent me a reply saying, "Are you willing to talk to the press if necessary?" I said, "Sure." And I said, "I have all my receipts from my last 3 times shopping there, and I can show you every single thing that they overcharged me on." And then here's a little clue. I went there on Wednesday, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try this out. So I had the sales paper, and that's when I got the rice roni. It was 5 for $5. So I thought, okay, I'm going to buy one thing at a time on the sales paper. So I went and I got 5 boxes of rice roni. They were supposed to be 5 for $5. Went to the self-checkout, paid for them. Lo and behold, they charged me the complete price on all 5 boxes. I called the lady over who was the one monitoring self-checkout, and I showed her. I said, "Look, they just charged me full price." And I showed her the ad. I said, "Look, they're supposed to be 5 for $5. "Oh, I'm sorry, sir." She gave me the difference. I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll be right back in a few minutes." I went around back into the store and grabbed another item that was on sale. One item. Went back to it was juice, $2.79, supposed to be on sale. I went back to the checkout, paid for it. It charged me full price, $5. And I said, "Excuse me," the same lady. I said, "Excuse me, remember me? I was here a minute ago." I said, "I just bought this juice here. It's supposed to be on sale. Here's the ad, $2.79. This thing just charged me $5. "Oh, I'm sorry, sir." She gives me the difference. I turned right around, went right back into the store, and I bought another item that was supposed to be on sale. And lo and behold, the third time, 3 out of 3 times, it overcharged me.
It sounds like grocery roulette.
Yeah, but tell me, you think that's a coincidence?
Well, it doesn't seem to be. It seems like a pattern to me.
Like I said, right? It's the same store that got busted over in the Bay Area, California, and Oregon, at least I know of. I'm sure if I looked up the history of Kroger and Albertsons, Vons, and Ralph's, I'm sure they've all had similar situations.
Well, I just want to say, Pop, I'm very careful. Every time I shop, I look at the shelf price on everything and I tally it up in my head mathematically. And I'm usually within about $1 of the total when I go through the checkout, right? I'm pretty good at that.
Right.
And
Yeah, same here.
yeah. Do you guys have in the US, do you have the scanning code of practice?
What do you mean?
The scanning code of practice here in Canada is the supermarkets that are members of it. If you get overcharged by an item, I believe this if it's under $10, they have to give it to you for free. And I've done that a few times. I remember once at the Independent, they had olive oil at a certain price on the shelf sticker, right? Right on the shelf. And I went over and I scanned it in the self checkout, and it was higher than the shelf price. So I just called the lady over and I said, "Excuse me, I've been overcharged because this is not the price on the shelf." And she went and she checked it out. She came back like a few minutes later. She said, "You're right. You get this for free and no
Yeah,
charge."
right. Funny you mentioned that because the day that I filed the report with the Attorney General, I looked up Safeway. They're supposed to have that policy as well, but funny they never mentioned that, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to check if you feel you've been overcharged. I always call an employee over and I say, "Are you
Oh,
members
I
of the
called the man. I called the
scanning
manager
code?"
over. I called the manager over. I got tired of just talking to
Yeah,
employees.
because if they are a member of the scanning code, they have to like give you. I think if it's under $10, you get the item for free. If
I
it's
know.
over $10, you get a certain discount amount. I can't remember the
Right, right.
percentage,
But
but
here, you have to tell them that if you don't bring it up, they don't give it to you.
oh, I always bring it up because I'm that kind of bitchy customer. If something pisses me off, I will definitely let the staff know about it.
I mean,
I,
hell, for that
I'm
matter, I'd
too
have most of
old.
my stuff.
I'm
Most of
too
my
old
stuff
to
would be
care.
free. Yeah, and see, for that matter, most of my stuff would be free in that case.
Yeah, well, if I'm not happy with the service or something's wrong, I will scream bloody murder
Ginger,
because I am not embarrassed anymore at
come on,
my
Ginger.
age. It's like I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. If I think
Yeah.
I'm getting treated badly by somebody, I will definitely let them know all about it.
Well, I
But
do
anyway,
bring it to their
I just wanted
attention,
to bring that up.
but
So
well, no, that's fine. I do bring it to their attention, but I think it's sad that they're so brazen that they don't correct the issue and they're like next. In fact, here's what it comes down to: is psychologically, most people when they pay for their items, they look at the bottom of the receipt only, and they say, "Oh, I paid this much and I saved this much. Good enough for me," and they walk out the door, and that's the end of it.
yeah, I never do that. I look at every single item on the receipt just to check it that it's the right amount.
And I used to be the type that didn't do that until I started shopping at Safeway. They trained me to start doing this now.
Yeah, I do it. I do it every time I get groceries. I just look, okay, that's $4.99. Okay, that's $1.99. I'm very meticulous at that because I'm cheap. I'm basically a tightwad because I
No,
don't
no, it's
like
not.
to.
It's not a matter of being cheap. When you're a customer, that's not being cheap, and especially if you're not a rich person, that's not being cheap.
Well, exactly. As a working class person, it's like I value every dollar that I work my butt off to earn, right? So it's like if you're going to take my money, you better take the right amount, basically.
Yeah, you know what's sad is I remember. I'm sure you do PvP. We're both old enough to remember when they phased in barcodes. Remember back when everything had a price tag on the shelves,
Oh,
and
hell yeah!
the
Every
cashier would right, and the cashier would go boom, 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 and the cashiers were fast as lightning. Do you remember that?
I remember when every item had a price sticker on it.
Yes, every single item had a price sticker on it.
Exactly. Well, as I mentioned earlier, my mother, started working at Safeway in 1969, and she worked into the early 80s before she retired. She worked there for like 18 years, right? And she was one of their star cashiers because she had the employee of the month. Like I lost count of how many times because she was a very good cashier. And back then there was no scanning. They did what they called touch checking, where they'd have to type everything
Right, yeah,
in
right, it was
ink.
like a typewriter. A lot of them didn't even have to look at the cash register, right?
Oh, my mom, she hated it at first when she had to train for a week to learn it, but once she learned it, she loved it, right? Because she just like fly over the keys with her fingers and type everything in, and she was really good because she was actually one of the favorite cashiers at the store because customers would actually go to her checkout just to line up, to talk to my mom because she was so popular, right? So
Right.
she was a quality cashier, my mom.
Well, I knew when they phased in barcodes, I knew that the reason why was to rip people off, and that I've seen nothing to prove me wrong in all these years. That
Yeah, well,
everything I've
yeah.
seen points towards that.
Well, the thing is, a barcode is only as good as the information that's been entered in the computer, right? If they
Which
put
is
the
done
wrong
by a
amount in
human
the
being,
computer,
right? Right. So when they blame it on the computer, that's my point. When they say, "Well, it's not our fault; it's the computer," no, it isn't. The computer's programmed by a person. And I tell them, I said,
Exactly.
don't give me that garbage.
Exactly. Oh yeah, 100% agree, Pop. That's
Like you
totally
do
right.
realize it's not the cashier's fault at all, right? Like you guys are like,
That's why I said I always ask the manager.
No,
okay,
I blame the management for just basically being lazy and not double checking what they put into their computer system because
No, it's
that's
not lazy. It's
problem.
not lazy. Like with Safeway here, it's intentional. Because if think about this, if it was a matter of lazy, then sometimes they would undercharge you. The fact that it's always overcharged, that is intentional.
You got a point there. Yeah, I can't argue with that one.
Now the mistake of the cash register is, or the register operator is when they charge you like for buying, like I said, 4 onions instead of 2. Yeah, that's the fault of the cashier.
Yeah, it's
But
bad. Yeah.
but when you're being charged full price for something that's supposed to be on sale, that's the fault of the manager who, when it's brought to their attention, is supposed to correct the issue and is not doing it.
Well, yeah, it's like when I've been overcharged and I brought it to the attention, I've got an item for free because of that. I'm thinking to myself, how many hundreds of people this week have been ripped off
Uh huh.
before I bitched and moaned, right? It's like
Right.
sad.
Right. And that's why they'll give you your difference of your money and shut you up. But you think they'll go back and inform all those people, we're sorry, but we overcharged you this last week. They're not going to
Well,
do that.
yeah, exactly. I think it's outrageous, to be honest. I think it's just ridiculous.
Right. I mean, how about this? All as we know, all grocery stores have loudspeakers. Whenever like somebody like you and I walk up to the manager and say, "Look, you overcharged me for this and this and that," they should immediately get on the loudspeaker and say, "Attention, all customers! We accidentally overcharged a customer here. Please double check your receipts when you get home." Why don't they do that?
You got me.
I think we
I'm
all know why. I think we all know why. The whole point is they want to keep it hush hush.
Well, I guess it's about profit margins too, isn't it?
Of course, well, because the more money, it's like with labor. The more money they save, the more they raise up the profit, the more the manager gets bonuses.
You know what pisses me off too is, I mean, they use inflation as a good excuse, and I guess to some extent that's probably true. But man, the way grocery prices have gone up here in the last year or so, pretty shocking stuff, to be honest.
Oh, it is. Sorry about that, the dogs. And we got caught up here really quick. I know we can gabbing so long.
Hmm.
So I grabbed the cereal and a great can of Kroger Supreme Coffee, says Basil. Gorilla says tomorrow's Corinne stock Franken Hooker. Okay, well, Gorilla, I will stop by there because as I've told you before, I'm a big fan of that movie. So in between your stream and Deej, I will be seeing you guys. And Basil says, not a bad deal, but watch your receipt closely. Check it before you walk out of the store so you can get any problems corrected without having to walk back into the store. All right, Basil. What I usually do, unfortunately, is I walk out. I'm in a hurry. But what I do is I hold on to the receipt and I make note of okay, here's where they overcharged me, and then like okay, next week I'm going to go back to the store. When I go back next week is when I show them. So that's what I tend to do is I take it back with me the next time I go to the store. And Basil Battle Dragon says, watch combat veteran reacts. They demonetize him for showing war video clips. God, I'm not surprised. That's a bunch of BS right there. That's not fair. And Basil says Kroger merged with Albertsons through some retail grocer supply company. Exactly right. I forgot who it is. I remember the name because when I did my homework to report it to the Attorney General, I did look up and I saw the name of the company that owns all those restaurants, all those grocery stores. They're all under the same name. I forgot who it is. I'd love to research and repost, but YouTube will probably penalize Pop if I dared to it. I would be interested in seeing that and see if they try to punish me for it. Of course, if they do, they'll just punish me and they won't tell me why. Lemon Pie says free eggnog for BBP this year or via the scanning code of practice.
Yeah, only if they overcharge me, Lemon.
It's despicable. I mean, seriously, it's like, and like I said, it's every single time. It's got to where every single time I go grocery shopping, it happens. And it's usually by a really big margin. It's not like one thing here or there. It's like by several items.
Well, it's like
It,
shopper beware, right? You know,
it is. It is.
because I
And
remember in the 60s and 70s when I was young, I'd go into a store, but this is back in the days in my little hometown where there was no cameras. There was just down to earth, people at a counter. you didn't have long lineups. You had various counters all around the store. So you'd walk up and there'd be just yourself and the cashier, and you'd buy an item. No cameras, no scanning, no BS. You'd pay whatever the price was on the item on the sticker, and you walk out of the store and you were like done in like 2 minutes, right? It's like, man, I miss those days a lot.
Yep. Oh, and that's also, I don't know about it there, but also that's where shoplifters were not allowed to just walk out the door like they do now here.
Well, we didn't
Now they're
have
allowed to,
shoplifters back in the 60s and 70s. I never heard about shoplifting. I mean, I don't think it happened in my small hometown, right?
no, small towns definitely not. But like I've lived in big cities, I did see it rarely every now and then. But when it happened, the store clerks would go after them and grab them and drag them back in the door,
Oh yeah, I
which
actually
they
saw
won't
that
do.
happen here one time, where
Yeah,
a guy.
that's what they won't do anymore. Now they just let them go.
Yeah, I remember about 2 years ago there was a guy at the local supermarket I mentioned previously, and I guess I don't know if he was a druggie or he seemed to like steal like a bunch of like pastries. And
Munchies.
he got on his bicycle and he started to pedal away. And one of the I guess I don't know if it was the assistant manager who it was. He ran after the guy and he grabbed him by the neck and hauled his ass down onto the street. It was pretty funny actually because he basically just you know grabbed him and he didn't like keep him. He just grabbed the product back, right? And the guy got back on the bike and riding away. He says, "I'm going to sue you for assault." And I'm
Of
thinking,
course.
maybe they should sue you for being a fucking thief, dude. You
Right. And
know?
see, and now we have it where in California they will sue you and they will win, and the store will
Uh,
get sued out of business. Right.
sad, 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 sad.
Well, just don't vote a certain political party. I'll put it that way. Basil says I have a habit of walking out without checking my receipt. It's a pain in the ass to have to walk back inside to fix a problem. Well, what I do, right, Basil, they have a customer service counter, and that's where I go. I don't go back up to like the registers to show them. I did it this week because it was self checkout and there was nobody else there, and I wanted to make a point to the lady who was at the register. But what I usually do, if it's several items, I have my receipt, the ad, and I go to what's called the customer service counter, and then I ask the manager. That's usually what I do.
Yeah, customer service I found personally, they're generally pretty good if you bring an issue to their attention and you have actual, proof of what's occurred. They're usually apologetic and they will actually fix the
Well,
situation,
right. Well, because they
you
don't
know.
want you turning them in like I ended up having to do.
Yeah.
Because it
But
got to the point
generally,
where the manager would walk up, "Oh, you again? Yeah, here I am. Remember me?"
yeah, yeah. That's the thing is
Excuse me.
it pays to complain, right? I mean, I'm a big fan of complaining when you're not being treated properly. So
It's not fair. And Lemon Pie, I'm good. I'm glad I'm caught up on the chat. Lemon Pie says if you shoplift seasoning and get chocolate, you can sue for assault.
that's good, Lemon.
I'm sure you guys have all seen the videos on YouTube where in California here where they just smash and grab and just walk out casually. They don't even have to run anymore. I mean, nobody even does anything. Just let them go.
Jesus, that's
And
bad.
now right, the stores are making a policy to where, like one guy, there was a Home Depot, and they stole the whole cart full of stuff. And the employee followed him out there and was videotaping them putting the stuff in the cart, and that employee got fired just for doing that. So yeah,
That's
they're firing for the employees for even videotaping them or trying to stop them.
that's really screwed up, man.
Of course it is. Like that's not going to empower the thieves, right?
That's just depressing, to be honest.
It
Like,
is,
geez.
and which, needless to say, is another reason why I'm glad I'm not in California anymore. Like where I'm at now, in fact, I can tell you now, like I'm at, it's a small town, it's a conservative town. I have not seen anybody shoplift since I've been here. And I've been here now for over 2 months. When I was in the Bay Area, I saw it every single day.
Mm.
I saw shoplifting every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And there was never a gas store or convenience store that didn't have homeless people standing around aggressively asking for money. And I haven't seen that here either. And it's very, very refreshing.
Yeah, there's one service station here in town that I avoid absolutely now because there's all kinds of homeless and beggars hanging around there. The last few times I went there, and then there was something on the local news where some guy got attacked with some maniac with a machete, and it was
Yeah,
like,
if you say no, you're taking your life into your hands, right? Because that's what I mean. They're very aggressive. You don't know what drugs they're on. You don't know what kind of weapons they're carrying.
yeah. Well, the last time I went there, I got panhandled by this guy. He was polite and everything, so there was no worries there. But he walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, can you spare a quarter?" And I'm thinking, really? You're not even going to ask me for $1? You're trying to get 25 cents out of me? I'm just like, so I just said, sorry, man, I don't carry cash anymore. And of course, he went over to the next pump and panhandled the guy there, which was an idiot, and gave him the money, right?
Yeah, but what about the ones which I saw quite often in California, where they come up, they're at a gas station, and they come up and they point towards a really nice SUV, a really nice one, and they'll say, "Hey, I don't have any gas. Can you give me some money for gas?" And
I
I say,
just
"No,
say,
I don't think so." I go, "No, if you can afford a car like that, you don't need my money." And it's the same with their smoking cigarettes. Always, if they're smoking
exactly.
cigarettes, I say, if you can afford those cigarettes, you got more money to waste than I do. I assure you.
Yeah. If
$10 a
you can,
pack? No.
yeah, if you can afford 15, $20 for a pack of cigarettes, I'm not going to support your habit. It's like, go away.
Yep, exactly right.
Yeah.
I had a good buddy of mine, Sean. I miss him. He's passed away now,
I'm
and
sorry to hear that, Bob.
he didn't. He ate too much. Didn't take care of himself. But
Uh,
he had a very gullible. And one time we came out of a Burger King and a bum, obviously alcoholic, came up and was asking for money. And of course I said no. Right next to the Burger King was a grocery store. I mean, a liquor store. There was a Burger King and a liquor store next to it. And of course, he immediately turned to my friend Sean and said, "Hey, buddy, you got to, I don't know what it was, how much." And Sean started, reaching for his money. I said, "Sean, he's going to go right over to the liquor store." And he goes, and I said, "Well, how do you know he's not going to go?" No, the guy said that he was hungry. So he goes, "Will you, give me some money to buy some food?" And I said, "No," because I said, "I know you're just going to spend it on booze." So he looks over at my friend Sean, says, "Will you give me some money?" And Sean starts reaching in his pocket. I said, "Sean, don't give him any money. You know he's going to spend it at the liquor store." And Sean goes, "Well, maybe he's hungry. Maybe he is going to go to Burger King." I said, "Just watch." Sean gives him the money. The guy walks right over to the liquor store. So it's like, oh yeah, all right. I
yeah,
remember I was laughing so hard.
That's funny. That's funny.
that's the thing. There are social services like we have the Salvation Army, I believe,
Yes,
that gives
yes.
out gives out free meals regularly, and
3 meals
there
a
are.
day. In California, you can get 3 meals a day. Plus, they give you 700 a month cash. Plus, they give you EBT for free food.
Well, that's the
Plus, they
thing.
give you a tent, a sleeping bag, and don't forget the free drugs, needles, Medi-Cal. I can go on
Mm,
and on.
it's not that generous in Canada, I believe, but still, I think you can get free meals at some of the social services here if you're really that hungry. I mean, it's not like and nobody in Canada starves to death. Let's put it that way. Even the
Yep.
street people don't starve to death. So
No.
it's like if somebody's asking you for money, it's just like I just don't. It's like I say, sorry, I never carry cash anymore, and then they just bugger off right away,
Oh,
right?
in California, you ready for this? In California, you'll say, "I'm sorry, I don't have any cash." They say, "Oh, that's okay. I'll take credit card," and they pull out a portable scanner.
Well,
I
then I
wish
would
that was a
definitely.
joke. I wish it was a joke, but it's not.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah, I've never had that happen. Thank
Yeah,
God.
it's called Square. Because I remember that's what I first heard about it. I said, what is this
Crazy.
Square? What is this Square? And it's a company where you buy a battery operated portable scanner,
Yeah,
and yeah, you can just take credit cards from anybody.
I've heard of that Square. Yeah, I've heard of that years ago, but it's like they're not getting my money. It's like, hey, if you want money, go fucking work hard for it, okay?
I know, I know.
Like I do every week. Shit.
So I'm gonna head out here, guys.
I'm
Pops, it's
sorry.
been fantastic as always.
Well, yeah, Nemesis, I'm glad you came by. I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to say much.
Yeah, thanks
That's
for
all good.
stopping in, Nemesis. You could have talked more. Like, I hope I wasn't talking all the time. I know sometimes I do.
Dude, you
I know
talk all the time. Like that's all you do.
and I know the topic wasn't exactly what we were used to talking about.
I hope Nemesis is being sarcastic there. I try not to talk as much as I once did.
No, I wasn't being sarcastic, PvP.
Well,
That's what these streams are for, but like, yeah. Anyways, have a good night, everyone. Have a good night in the chat.
Well, for everybody out there,
Take it easy, bud.
including
Night,
for everybody out
Nemesis.
there,
Excuse me.
including Nemesis, everybody out there, feel free to interrupt anytime, please, guys.
Yeah,
I don't want
if you-
anybody. I don't want anybody to feel like they don't get the opportunity to talk. So feel free to butt in, and because I feel really bad. I'm sorry about that, Nemesis.
Well, yeah,
Oh, no.
Nemesis, if you want me to shut the fuck up, just say so, and I'll be happy.
No, you don't
shut
have
the
to say
fuck
it that way, PvP. That's the problem is when people are afraid to speak up because they don't want that kind of reaction.
No, but
Actually, I
just-
don't mind that reaction, but most people don't. Like, yeah, I mean,
I
I'll tell you
enjoy-
to shut the hell up. I mean, I get you're a big boy. You can, you know what's up. You're not toilet paper. You don't burn at the first. You know, and you get it.
Oh.
You say it. You get it. You do understand that you talk a lot sometimes.
Well, I try to curtail it, but I know I am a motor mouth. But hey,
And it's
Nemesis,
dating
seriously,
for
man,
most people.
if you wanted to say something, you just could have said, just talk. Like I'll shut up if you got something to say, man. There's no worries there.
Excuse me. I mean, fine with me. I mean, I have no problem, but
Nemesis, please, I will see you. If not Monday for Lost of Space, I will see you Tuesday for Scanners. We will definitely have our stream. I promise.
It's all good, Pop. Like,
take it easy,
your
bud.
health is more important than anything else. And yeah, no, PvP, I understand, but just, yeah, dude. Anyways,
Okay. Well, have a
Deej.
great night.
Take it easy.
LDG, Daniel, PvP, Pop, chat, everyone.
Good
Take
night,
care.
buddy.
And I'm not mad at you, PvP. I'm just,
Okay,
it's just
thank
like, I'm,
But
well, yeah, but I am pointing out to you because you always say, I know I talk too much, and then you carry on doing it. Just be aware of what you do.
Well, I try to curtail it. I know sometimes I get carried away, but I enjoy talking with you, Nemesis. So try not.
Oh,
to
as
take
do
it
I,
personal.
PvP.
Try not
Oh,
to
I'm
take
not.
it personal.
No, I'm just, if I
Well,
don't say it, if I don't put it out there.
No worries. No worries.
All
No
right.
worries.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Anyway, have a good one there, Nemesis, and we'll see you
Yeah.
probably on Scanners.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I do have to go. So,
right.
good night. Later.
Good night. Good night, Nemesis.
Night.
Okay. And Gorilla Ranthought says $15 a pack. Man, you're getting gypped. Mine are only $4.35. Gorilla, are you talking about name
That's
brand
cheap.
cigarettes? Yeah, it is cheap. Are those name brand? Or are you talking about like
That's
a
cheap.
generic brand?
Yeah.
Yeah, because any of the big states like we're at, like I'm sure like you, LG, they've got to be upwards to $10 a pack or more, aren't they?
No, they're not $10 a pack, but I wonder whose draws Gorilla had to drop to get $4. No, it's like $6 or $7 over here.
And that's
Like
the
average
name
pack's
brand.
about like $6.50. That's name brand, Marlboros.
Yeah, Marlboros are the last time. Like I just moved from California 2 months
Unless
ago.
they're not name brand anymore. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I was in a line at a gas station, and this guy bought a carton of Marlboro. It was like with tax, it was $160 something.
Yeah. I know if you
And-
like the Newports or whatever are more expensive as far as like, name brand or whatever you want to call it. But Marlboros are actually pretty decent.
I know the Marlboros
Yeah,
are
like
over
$6,
$10 a
$7
pack.
the max.
Yeah, they're over $10 a pack in California, definitely.
And then
Because I
you get
can see
the
price.
reward system. You can save $1 every time. So you can actually save $1 if you follow the app and and scan your shit, scan your boxes and stuff.
Do you smoke name brand or generic
Marlboros.
Marlboros? Well, when I used to smoke, it was Marlboro. It was the Marlboro Reds.
I used to do Marlboro menthols until, yeah.
Are they phasing the menthols out like they're doing in California?
No, not really. I just
well-
cut down because wanted to cut down, so I went to lights.
Gotcha. My mother smoked menthol 100s. And they
Yeah, that's
those-
what I used to
like,
smoke.
wow.
Menthol 100s were my cigarettes.
Gorilla says, aren't they offering maid for homelessness? I'm surprised they're not offering a maid, but they, they're giving them everything else. Lemon Pie says, Nemesis is leaving because of my salt joke. No, Lemon Pie. I think Nemesis had a long day because he just got off work recently. And Gorilla Renaissance says knee pads were a good investment. There you go. That's Gorilla's people. And Gorilla's Renaissance says ID is brand. I guess he means that brand for 425 a pack. And also, too, Gorilla's in the Midwest in a small town, so it's not like he lives in the big cities like we did. But I know in California, last I heard, I think they're going to be banning menthol cigarettes because I heard people complaining about that.
Yeah.
Because they said, of course, that was racist. Everything's racist in California, right? So, any of you guys going to see the Marvels when it comes out? What about you, Daniel? I think Daniel may have stepped away from the mic.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm here. What'd you say?
What about the Marvels? Are you going to go see it?
I don't think so.
I don't know anybody that's going to go see it. Did you hear that they paid $300 million for that sucker?
They did? Oh my
Yes,
god. Waste of
300
money.
million. Yes. Now remember, they only get 50% of the take here in the U.S. from the theaters. So for every dollar that people spend, Disney only gets about 50 cents. Then they even get less from overseas, and then even less from China. So it's interesting how they're going to try to make 3 times their money back.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. But there's supposedly, but first of all, I'm going to say I don't believe this. But in the news the last couple of days, they're saying that Bob Iger is saying that Disney's going to try to get out of politics. And I'll reiterate, I don't believe that. Not for a second.
Yeah.
Gorilla's Renaissance is made as a Canadian program medical assistance in dying. Oh, I think you mean like hospice in the U.S. Basically, they offer it for terminally ill or mental illness, or if they just don't want to pay for your treatments. Yeah, I heard that the assisted suicide is getting big in Canada right now.
I think there's a lot of misinformation about that as a Canadian. I just want to interject. There is a program where if you have a terminal illness that is incurable and you're in incredible pain and you're suffering every day and your quality of life is basically down to shit level, and you request, to end it, medically end it, and get an injection to end your life, that is available. However, you do have to, I believe, get the signatures of several doctors on the documents before that's allowed. It's not like they're just offing people right, left, and center up here, right? That's bullshit. Anybody who says that is lying.
So what are the other doctors for? Just to all prove that yes, there's terminally ill, yes, there's nothing we can do about it, yes, they're suffering.
Yeah, you have to. I think you probably get examined, and I mean, people have a medical history, right? They have their charts on record, and if you've got like some horrible, like if you've got like Lou Gehrig's disease, and you're gonna maybe die in 6 months anyway, because you know how bad that is. If you
and my brother passed away from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible, right? So if you basically say, I'm tired of suffering, my any kind of useful life I ever had is basically done. I'm just like basically I'm lying here waiting to die now.
Rotting away.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, whatever joy we have in life at a certain point when you're very, very ill and you're past the point of no return, it's like you can request a medically assisted death, which I have no argument with as long as it's very controlled and it's very documented, which it is. As I say, you have to get doctor's approval and they do check into the person's situation beforehand. So I don't have a problem with that. The one about the mental illness part, I think that was discussed about a year ago, but I think I mean, I'm not, don't quote me because I might, be wrong because I haven't checked into this in a while, but I think a year ago, the parliament did debate the possibility of offering assisted death to people that were like so mentally ill they could never function in society in any meaningful way. And if they actually requested that they wanted to end their lives, I think that actually failed, though. I think that was actually rejected.
Yeah, because if they're mentally ill, how do you know they know what they're saying? That's what I was
Oh yeah,
wondering.
exactly. I think that's why basically we have a parliament and we have a Senate chamber too. You know, the second sober thought in the Senate, right? And I can't remember if it was Parliament or maybe the Senate refused to pass that part of the bill because they just thought that was a little too sketchy. So I don't think we've gone there yet. But as far as terminally ill people that are in extreme suffering and pain, that is available. But as I say, you've got to go through the steps. You know, you've got to apply, and then you've got to go through all the paperwork and the steps and doctors, you know, approval and all of that. So it's not like they're just, you know, murdering people or something, right? So
Well, my question is, the injection, is it the same as they're giving people like that they execute?
I'm not sure what they use to inject. I think it's basically the person just basically goes to sleep and never
Well, it's
wakes
the
up.
same with this. It's the same with the executions. It's
I'm not
supposedly
sure.
supposed to be painless, and then they're supposed to just go to sleep.
What I've heard is that everything I've heard is that it is painless and people just pass away peacefully.
Right
I
now, let
can't
me ask you,
remember. I can't
morally
remember
though,
what the actual drug is, but I'm sure I'm sure if you want to look it up, it's probably online, right?
right? But let me ask you this though, morally, or like if you're a religious person, is that the same as committing suicide, isn't it? Which means you're going to hell if you're a religious person, right?
Well, I guess if the person that was asking to die was a religious, they probably wouldn't request it.
That's what I'm guessing. So it's probably just for people
Is
that
what
aren't
I'm
religious.
guessing. I think people that are at peace with ending their lives, you know, a few months or a few years early because they're in extreme pain, they've probably, you know, come to terms with that in their own minds and they're ready to take that step is what I'm thinking, Pop, right?
Well, of course they have to. If they're going to ask for it, then that means they've come to terms to accept it.
Well,
Which
that's
means
my
I'm
point.
guessing they're not religious.
I think if an extreme religious person would just, you know, tough it out and suffer right till their last breath, right? But I think it should be an option if people really want it. Well, I believe in democracy, right? If somebody really wants to do something and it's legal and there's proper channels to make sure there's no funny business going on and you know it's all documented. If somebody makes that decision and that's what they choose to do, I'm not going to argue with their right to make a free choice, right? So
Right. I know here in the U.S. it's still illegal, but I know back in the day, the Native Americans, when they figured the old people, when they figured it was time to die, they would just wander off into the woods and just die.
well, it was like, didn't the Vikings used to put people out to sea if they were near death?
No, that was after they were dead. It was a Viking
Oh,
funeral.
okay.
It was after they were dead. Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting confused. But I know there's countries in Europe too. I think there's a couple countries in Europe that have assisted death as well.
Right. You remember back in I believe the 90s, when that one doctor was doing assisted suicide here in the U.S. They called him Doctor Death. I can't remember.
Kevorkian,
That's it. Yeah, I remember how he was
I
doing that
remember
and he got
him.
busted.
Yeah,
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 and he
he
even
was
looked like a.
pretty
He looked like a.
controversial.
Well, he even looked like a ghoul. He looked like Fauci. He had rings around his eyes and everything.
Yeah, well, that was that. But I'm talking about
But he went to
totally
jail.
different things.
Right. But supposedly every patient signed all the papers saying they wanted to die and all that. But no, they definitely convicted him as a mass murderer.
Well, the thing is, the law was the law back then, right? So that's what happened. And I won't argue with that. I'm just thinking it's like marijuana laws. Like we decriminalized marijuana. Geez, I don't know what 5 6 years ago here in Canada, and there's believe me, I think we got half a dozen dispensaries here where I live. You know you can go and
Wow.
buy a bag or buy a you know edibles or whatever your little heart desires. No worries, right? It's all legal now. Whereas in the U.S., you guys are still catching up. You're decriminalizing it maybe state by state by state, but you know eventually it's going to some president's going to come into office and say this is a joke. Let's just do it nationally and get this over with because this is what you know this is what our citizens actually want. And eventually they'll wake up and realize that because governments are usually behind. They're usually behind the times, right? It seems
Of
very
course,
often.
of course. What do you think they would allow it? Like, for example, let's say if I said, okay, I can't take it anymore, and I want assisted suicide. Do you have to be a Canadian citizen, or could I go up there and say, hey, can you guys help me out and push the button or
I think you'd
what?
probably have to be. I think you'd probably have to be a citizen. I mean, don't quote me.
Xenophobia,
Once again, I'm not. I'm not an
racist.
expert on this. I don't like spend hours every week reading about assisted
Shame
suicide.
on you! It's time to do
I'm
your
not.
homework.
I'm not that morbid. I mean, I'm basically I love life, even though I'm getting old and decrepit, but I still love life, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna hold out as like me. Believe me, every day is not perfect, and I do go through pain every day. But I'm
oh
still
yeah,
gonna try to. I'll
I
try to
hear you.
stick it out as long as I can.
Me too.
I'm not ready to
I,
go
I
yet.
I do think to answer your question though, you'd pretty much have to be, like an actual citizen of the country
I
to get.
think so. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is under. And right now, I don't think they're granting citizenships to every. Ever since the lockdowns, it's hard to get a citizenship anywhere anymore.
Well, Canada's always had some pretty fairly strict guidelines. I think, like, if you want to emigrate to Canada, I think you've got to have like a professional degree or some kind of professional training, like maybe you're a doctor or a teacher or something, with
Oh, that makes
credentials.
sense.
Yeah, they don't just let anybody into the country. It's like uh, you've got to have some kind of talent, some kind of skill
Something
that will
something to offer in return to the country.
that will add to the country. Exactly, Pop.
Right. So I can't go over and apply because I heard you guys got better welfare and medical than we do here.
Probably not.
and, and from what I've heard, I'm not sure your medical is any worse or better than ours.
Actually, our medical system, a lot of people slag it off, but as I mentioned earlier, when I went to have my breathing test on Friday morning, 90 minutes of hell, basically, breathing into a bloody tube. But it's like the doctor, she was so sweet, she was so wonderful, she guided me through the whole process. It's like I've never gone to the any medical facility here in my life that I've had a bad experience. It's always been very hardworking professional people. And I did talk to her briefly after it was over, and I told her, I thanked her. I said, I'm so glad that we have skilled people like you that are dedicated to keeping our health, our well-being. And she appreciated it totally. She was like, well, thank you, I really appreciate you saying that. And you know it's like I've never had a bad experience. I remember when my mom in her 80s had to get a pacemaker installed, but they couldn't do it in my hometown, so they had to drive down 30 miles down the road to where I am. The ambulance took her down 30 miles. They did the surgery the next day, put the pacemaker in, drove her back the next day. Not one penny in cost, not 1 cent.
Yeah, see, and that would be astronomical here.
Exactly. So you say what you want about Canada, but I'm pretty happy to be a Canadian, to be honest, guys.
Well, like what you're talking about
Not
with that,
perfect, but it's pretty good.
yeah, but like you're talking about with that breath machine, I've got all these slews of problems with my lungs. All I get is the old stethoscope. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, all right. And of course, because of that, I was misdiagnosed. Because when I started having these problems, I had this horrible doctor in California, and she listened with the stethoscope and goes, "Oh, you have asthma, and pneumonia." So she gave me a prescription,
Oh,
and
jeez.
it got worse and worse. And I finally said, "Screw her! I'm going to the hospital." And that's when I found out I had cancer. They did the MRIs, and yeah, half my lung was filled up. So yeah, thank you, doctor. Thank you.
There's nothing worse than a bad doctor, and I've had one or two in the past, and thank God the one I didn't have a family doctor for like 10 years, and I finally got a really good one like 2 or 3 months back, and she's wonderful. She's a really great doctor because
You're
every
fortunate. That's
time.
hard to find here.
Oh, well, I didn't have one for 10 years. That's how hard it was to find one, right? And I finally got a chance to get one, and she's really great. Every time I see her, she'll talk about, explain everything to me that, you know, well, for instance, last time I saw her, she talked about, the end of life thing, right? If you have like a car accident, do you resuscitate or do you not? And she decided, I talked it over with her. She had, the paper form and she was filling it out. And we decided at my point in life if I do have like a tragic car accident and I'm, they can restart my heart or get me breathing, they'll do it because I'm still, young enough at 65 where I might have another 20 good years, right? So she's very thorough and she talks me through all that. And you can tell when a doctor actually really cares, you know. Every time she comes in, when I see her, she set, calls me by my first name, and she's very personable. And anyway, I'm talking too much again.
Yeah, and I'm at the point where I'd probably tell them do not resuscitate. Because we gotta look at it, and you're fortunate. I'm younger than you, and I figure I'm already close to the end of my life. So yeah, I give
Well,
you props for that.
let's hope not. Let's hope not. Try and stay optimistic.
I am. It's honestly the reason why I doubt my longevity is because of the cancer treatment and what I see what it's doing to my body, and I know that what it's doing to my body is destroying it, and that's the only reason why. But I mean, just a year ago, I never would have thought that. But seeing all the side effects that I'm going through from the chemo and radiation, there's no way I'm going to last. There's no way.
Mm,
Lemon
yeah.
Pie says, can Pop go up to Canada and have PvP overdose him on eggnog? Or would he need to be a citizen of Canada?
Well, I tell you, if Pop could ever make it up here, I'd be happy to overdose him on eggnog.
Yeah, it's the side effects from the treatment. It's like the worst thing on my body ever. And I know that, and they've even told me that a lot of the side effects, even after I'm done with chemo and radiation, some of them are going to be around forever. Like I don't know if I'll ever grow my hair back. And the fatigue and what it's done to my body, that like losing weight. I mean, there's so many things that it's. And by the way, there's still a whole list of side effects that I've yet to encounter. Because basically, when they started the treatment, they said you're going to have this, and this, and so forth. I've only had a two or three of the symptoms, but there's a whole bunch of bad ones that are going. The more treatment I undergo, there's going to be a lot. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I'll put it that way. So I'm going to try to keep my outlook, positive. It's just that from some of these side effects that they've described, it sounds really, really bad. Sean Carter, hello again, everyone. Hello, Sean Carter.
Hi, Sean.
Uh, yeah, and speaking of Sean Carter, I want to mention this. That when I told you guys about that good friend of mine that passed away named Sean, his name was Sean Carter.
Really?
And yes, and that's how I met Sean Carter. This Sean Carter here is my friend Sean
Wow.
Carter passed away. Yeah, him and I were buddies since seventh grade. That's where we met. We were 12 or whatever grade. Yeah, somewhere around 12, 13. Anyway, we met and we were friends for up until he passed away. And I saw Sean Carter here. I saw his name pop up when I was on Dupac's channel. We were both in the chat. And then one night I hit him up. I said, "Hey, Sean," I go, "I know you don't know me, but I like your name because I had a really good best friend of mine. He was my Star Trek friend. We'd go over to each other's houses and watch Star Trek, all of our stuff. We go to the movies together, all that." And I told Sean, I said, that was the name of my best friend. And every time I see your name pop up on Doomcock's chat, it makes me think of my best friend. And he goes, "Oh, okay, well, that's cool." And then next thing you know, Sean becomes my friend. Sean Carter. Sorry about it's confusing. And then Sean Carter subs to my channel, and I go to his channel now, and it's excellent. And Sean, I know that they're not. It's not the same Sean Carter as my friend, obviously. But Sean Carter turned out to be just as good as a person as my friend Sean Carter was. And I'm glad he has that name, and I thought that's really cool. So I will always think about that when I see Sean Carter's name. So yes, Sean, hello again. And Lemon Pie says, "Hi, Sean." And Sean Carter says, "Hi, Lemon Pie." And Sean Carter's got a sad face. I think it's a sad face. Don't be sad. Sean Carter's. But another thing, another similarity is my friend Sean was also into model making. Him and I would sit down and do like the Enterprises, like the original Enterprises, the Constitution class, and then we fit. Him and I would work together on that. We'd watch Star Trek, we'd watch Lost in Space, all that good stuff. Good memories. And he was very smart. He ended up being in charge of all the technology and networking at a school district. He was making like $100,000 a year. He was a good man. Unfortunately, he just didn't take care of himself health-wise. He never drank or smoked, but he overindulged when it came to food. I remember that was his reoccurring joke as we were growing up, even at school, as I say, Sean, maybe you shouldn't eat so much. Don't eat so fast. He would gobble his food down. And I say, Sean, maybe you shouldn't eat so fast. Oh, don't worry. I don't have a food problem. I can eat anything. That was his joke all the time. I can eat anything. I can eat as much as I want. I don't have a food problem. And yeah, it eventually came back at him because they put him obviously high blood pressure. They gave him high blood pressure pills, high blood, high blood pressure pills destroyed his body, his kidney, everything. And then it just like all just suddenly kicked in at once. And he was like, from the time he started feeling ill, he was dead within a week. It's just the drugs they give you. That's why I know now that I'm undergoing chemotherapy. It's the drugs and everything they give me, or what's going to end my life at a short time, unfortunately. Oh, it's not a smile, says Sean. Yeah, I kind of figured, Sean, but no reason to be sad. No reason to be sad. It was a long time ago. I mean, I was sad when my mother passed away 20 years ago, but I don't get sad now because it was 20 years ago. And life is life. And she had a good sense of humor. So when I refer to my mom, I always say she kicked the bucket. And people would say, "Oh my God, how can you say that? That's terrible. You should say she passed." And I say, "I could say she kicked the bucket. She had a great sense of humor. She'd laugh too if I said that." So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I'm not like those people on Friday Doomcock's Friday channel when they get on. Oh, woe is me, everybody! Please say sorry for me because my mom died 10 years ago on this day. Oh, woe is me. And then they spend the next hour on Doomcock's channel saying, "Hey, everybody, shout out to that person and feel sorry for them." I'm not
yeah,
one of those.
and then they send a $10 super chat, right, Bob?
Yes, yes. But no, I usually try to keep my streams a little upbeat. It's like, yeah, I can remember that my friends and family that are lost, but I don't mourn over it constantly. I get
Well,
over it.
the thing is, I'm 65. I have one family left, my dear cousin, which is not a cousin. We are brothers because we're so close. We love each other so much because we were only born 6 months apart, right? So we're very very close. Actually, I just had a barbecue with him on the Saturday. Actually, a week ago tonight, I had a barbecue with him and his lovely wife, and they are the only family I have left, and I love them dearly. And they've always been super, super great with me. And I remember when my mom passed, like 8 or 9 years ago now. It's like I was really screwed up for like a couple of years after that. Like she was like when you have an anchor person in your life, they're like somebody you can always go to when
Yeah,
you're
you're rock.
having a tough time. Yeah, she
Uh
was
huh.
my rock. And when she suddenly had her fall, broke her hip, and died a week later, it was like I was fucked up for like 2 years emotionally, and
Well,
somehow,
I got over it relatively quickly because I understand that when they die, like with my mother, for her it was completely different because it was unexpected. It's like suddenly she wasn't answering her phone.
oh
We go to
shit,
her house and we find her dead.
oh crap,
But it's like, yeah, I mourned her for a few months, but it's like I said for people to, people were like, "Boy, you got over it quick." I said, "No, it's just I realized that she's no longer here. She's not suffering anymore, and there's no reason for I should go on dragging my life down." And that's the way she would have wanted me to go. Is she would have wanted me to move on. So
yeah.
that's why I didn't let it linger for me.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you didn't let it linger, but unfortunately, I did, and it wasn't fun. And
It's not.
luckily,
Uh,
once again, my cousin and his wife actually helped me. They talked me out of it, and they pointed me in a direction to get some help from some of the local social services, and some of the people there were really really wonderful, and they helped get my life back on track. So I'll never forget that. So. But
That's
yeah,
great.
it's dealing with death is a tough thing. Like I remember my best one of my best buddies, Jim, passed away about 10 years ago from a heart attack suddenly, right? Because he didn't show up. He was an avid curler on Sundays with one of my other friends, and he didn't show up for the curling match, right? And then on Monday he never showed up for work. So people like were like, "Uh oh, something's wrong." So they got, I don't know that I guess they got the fire department, the landlord, whoever had keys. They
Right.
went into his apartment and they found him stone cold on the bed, right?
Yep.
Just a sudden heart attack. And I'll never forget. I heard from once again my cousin. My cousin called me and said Jim's dead. I was like, what? You're kidding? And it was like, no, he's dead. And it was like one of the biggest shocks of my life. But it's just life. Death is a part of life, right? So we just have
It
to
is.
accept it, I guess. You know.
Yep. Yep. And Sean Carter's replying to the emoji a couple minutes ago that I was talking about, and he says, I mean, the emoji is a smile. He just has his eyes closed, kind of a humble smile. Yes, I understand, Sean. But Sean, I wanted to say thank you for being a good friend, and you're a nice guy, and I really appreciate your friendship. Lemon Pie says my doctor told me I need to work on my cholesterol, so I'm getting those numbers up. Well, getting the numbers up is good. At least you don't have high where you're having to get them down. Hello, Jim. Jim Landscape says hello. And Lemon Pie says, in fact, that's how I am too. All my numbers are low. I mean, everything. I've got to gain weight. My salt is too low. Um, blood pressure, I've got to get that high. I mean, everything it's low, low, low. So I guess I've got to basically I need to start eating more, which I will do. That's what I was mentioning earlier in the stream. I just got my cookware. I can start cooking, so I can think I can start. I can get above the 140 pounds. Lemon Pie says hello, Jim. And Jim says, here's a link to a repair trailer. And Jim says, hail, Lemon Pie. And Sean Carter says, same back to you, Pop, and everyone here too. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, and here we are talking about dead people and family. I'm sorry about that, all you guys in the chat. I usually try to keep it a little more upbeat and positive tonight. We've been talking about some kind of off the beaten path stuff here. We're talking about grocery stores ripping off, and now we're talking about people that have died in our families.
Yeah, it hasn't exactly been the cheeriest stream tonight, has it, Bob?
No, I know. I guess we should talk about things that we're supposed to. I know this on my channel. We're supposed to talk about pop culture, and I usually talk about things that I enjoy, and not things that I do not enjoy.
Well,
So
anybody that wants to bring up a fun topic, I'm certainly willing to discuss it if anybody has an idea.
I really wish we could do a. Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay. I hear the writer's strike is almost over, or it could be over soon, because
I've heard something like that.
Yeah, apparently, they finally the people in charge gave the writers their final deal, the best final deal. I don't know. Maybe they'll take it, maybe they won't, but it's still hope,
So if you'll take it or leave it.
Yeah. I hope they'll say yes, because how long can they do this for, right?
Yeah, exactly. If they say no, that's I mean they're already. I would already say they're stupid, but that's going to be even stupider if they say no to that. And you guys heard about the United Auto Worker Union threatening to go on strike, right? Did you hear what they're asking for?
No, I did not hear about that.
They're asking for get rid now. Brace yourself. 40% pay increase.
Wow.
Can you? I know exactly, PvP. Exactly.
Wow.
Can you imagine the cost of cars right now are already astronomical. Can you imagine?
Oh, I could never imagine buying a new car ever. Not in my lifetime.
No, but 40%.
Well, I think people, if they get like 5% increase, are doing well these days.
Yeah, I know. When I was working, then I was getting it's called a cola raise, cost of living allowance. It was like 2.5%, maybe 3%. If it was like 3.5%, we'd be celebrating. And these people are asking for almost 40%. I am not joking.
Yeah, I would say 2 or 3, 4% is more in the average range from everything I've ever heard in the last 5 or 6 years. It's like 40%.
Well, yeah, but what it's basically supposed to be on par with inflation, right?
Well, inflation's gone up, but it ain't gone up 40%.
Exactly, and that's what their excuse. They're saying, well, inflation's already gone up so much, and it looks like it's just going to keep going high. We don't know, so just go ahead and give us 40% now, and we'll settle it.
Yeah, well, maybe we could have World War III, and we'll all get nuked by Putin in a week too. But
I know, right?
Not gonna happen, right? That's nuts. I can't believe that 40%. Like, man,
It's
I
true.
want whatever they're drinking. I want some of that. I'll tell you.
I know, right? Can you imagine if everybody wanted a 40% raise increase, no matter where you are or what job you do? Can you imagine if everyone did that?
The economy would crash. The economy would crash.
Of course it would. Limit cars are already more expensive due to supply chain inflation plus interest rate increases on car loans. This will make it worse. Yes, it'll make it nearly impossible. In fact, I saw a news report where they were comparing like a Ford F-150 pickup is already close to 100 grand, and that's a cheap piece of crap truck. And Ford makes the cheapest trucks out there. Can you imagine the 40? Now, and here's how it works. They give them 40% increase. It's not like the price of a car will go up 40%. The price of a car will go up 50 or 60%. It's just like when they raised wages in California because all the people working fast food flipping burgers wanted a $15 an hour raise. McDonald's and Burger King said, sure, sure. Our expense is going to go up 8%, but we're just going to raise our prices by 15%. So basically, it just gives them an excuse to raise their prices.
Well, any increase the workers get is going to be passed on to the consumers, right?
Right on to the consumer plus some.
Yeah.
Right. It's
exactly.
never an equal amount. It's never an equal amount. To where, like I said, let's say the auto industry, 40% interest. 40% raise is not going to raise the cost of cars 40%. It's going to raise them 50 to 60%.
Probably. Yeah.
It does it. Well, that's just how it's always been. Historically, that's how it's always been.
Well, the thing is, I don't think you can buy a new car or truck here for like less than 50, 60,000 in Canada now. It's
No,
like,
you know what they're
it's
doing,
not.
right? Okay, and what they're doing, it's just like the fast food in California. The idiots say, "Okay, we want $15 an hour raises," and what do a lot of the companies do? They'll say, "Okay, you're fired. We're going to hire robots." So, and with the auto workers, what's going to happen is they're going to demand 40% raise, and they're going to say, "Okay," and then guess what people are going to do? We're all going to start buying Japanese models. Because think about it, because Toyota and Nissan and all them are still going to be the same price. So people are going to say,
Yeah.
fine, I just won't buy a Ford, I won't buy a Chevy, and I won't buy a Chrysler anymore.
Yeah.
So those auto workers are going to price themselves out of a job.
So much for American made, eh, Pop?
That's right. And remember now, we're talking about American auto workers, the same ones that got in trouble constantly because they would take 2-hour potty breaks. I remember that was another big issue they had, is they demanded that they had at least 30 to 60 minutes to use the bathroom. Can you imagine that?
Well, I take a 60-minute lunch hour break, but
Well, no,
that's
that's normal, but no, they were talking about bathroom breaks.
who takes an hour to take a dump?
The United Auto Workers. They would take books and magazines in there with them.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, actually.
Yeah, and they tried to say it was discrimination that they weren't allowed to do that. Can you imagine?
Oh man,
Oh, and
sounds
they
like
were doing it on the clock. That was another big stipulation, is they wanted to do it on the clock.
well, if I want to take a whiz, I usually do it during my lunch hour, right? So
Yeah, same here. Or like when I used to smoke before I quit, I would wait till my lunch break. Or yeah, lunch break. I wouldn't say, "Okay, everybody, hold up the assembly line. Everybody, I'm going to go out and have a cigarette. You all wait until I get back." Yeah, no, that's not how it works.
yeah, I generally try to do everything during my lunch hour. Yeah,
Unfortunately, though, the auto workers, I remember that they were specifically their complaint, and this was maybe about 10 or 15 years ago, was they got mad because they were told they were not allowed to go on 30 to 60-minute bathroom breaks on the clock, and they had an issue with that. And it's like, well, what do they expect? My goodness.
the thing is that's so ridiculous, Pop, because I start my shift in the morning and I always make sure I set my alarm to wake up at least 30 minutes before my shift. And first thing I do in the morning is take my blood pressure pills. Second thing I do is head to the bathroom and make my morning deposit, so to speak. And then I might have enough minutes to make a quick cup of tea, and then I hunker down on my computer and get to work, busting my ass, making a living, right? So anybody who needs like half an hour bathroom break it's like, fuck, that's weird.
It's funny because that reminds me of another point is if I had to go, let's say potty number 2, I always
Yes.
did it in the morning before leaving my house, without exception.
Yep.
And then I had a job where this one guy, this big, huge, overweight guy, would wait till he got to work, and then he'd pull out his snacks, and then he'd go to the bathroom. And he'd spend the entire first hour eating and in the bathroom before he started a lick of work.
Wow, that's
And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe that they put up with that. Every
how do you
single
not
day,
get
the same routine.
how do you not get fired?
Well, I kindly asked that, and they said, well, he's been here a long time. And it's like, so?
If I did that for a week, I'd probably get my ass cammed. Like, because I'm on the phone all day, right, calling people, and they monitor every phone call I make is logged into the system, right? So they know exactly how many minutes I'm talking to people. They know how many seconds I'm dialing between calls, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that because I know that's my job, and I gotta
Right, and you're not
kind of
trying to cheat, so that's why you have no problem with it.
yeah. It's just like I gotta get X number of calls every day, whether it's 100 or 200 or whatever the hell it is, depending on my work hours. But yeah, taking an hour off to eat and dump it on your first hour of your shift is wow. That's unbelievable.
I know,
I'm
I know.
shocked.
Yep, every day. I remember it every single day. Yep,
Wow,
but oh
that's
well.
unreal.
Some people just got it made, I guess.
Some people are living in the lap of luxury, I suppose, or something.
Well, it was the same like when I was a teacher. Is it seemed like now not all teachers were like this, but I saw many, many, many teachers when they were on their last year or two teaching before retirement, they would just shut
Right?
down and sit at their desk and do nothing.
Huh.
I saw it all the time, all the time. And then you would
Yeah.
ask, how come Mr. So and so or Mr. So and so is not doing anything? All they do is sit at their desk or they're not even there at all. Well, they're retiring, and they have tenure. There's nothing you can do. I saw that all the time. And it's like, geez, I don't know. Talk about complacency, right?
Yeah, it's sad. My sister was a teacher. She actually went to university and got her teaching degree when she was a teenager, like when she was like 18 or whatever. And bless her soul, she taught grade one her entire career. From the 60s through the 70s into the 80s, and then she got her breast cancer, right? And she got ill, and they took remove one of them, and she had the chemo and all that stuff pop. So I can relate to what you're saying. And she did recover though after a couple years. It went into remission, and she did go back to. She was such a dedicated person. My sister actually went back for like another 2 years and taught her grade one students again, to the best of her abilities, which I totally I admire and respect my sister so much. And then of course she got ill again and it metastasized, and she eventually passed away after like 8 years of fighting the damn thing. And I have great respect for teachers. I know they're not all good, but my sister is one of those teachers that just loved her students, and her students loved her.
Well, yeah, well, it's
And
like any industry. Nobody's, you're not going to have them all. There's a few bad apples. It's like any
yeah,
industry.
yeah,
Like
but
I
I'll
said, I
never
knew
forget.
teachers. I knew teachers that worked up until the very end, very hard workers. I knew
Exactly,
some
my
that, yeah,
sister
I
was,
knew
yeah.
some that worked up to the very end, retired, and then came back and volunteered. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, so it wasn't like all of them.
my sister was one of those. I remember my some of my favorite memories are at the beginning of the school year. I'd go and help my sister set her classroom up, and she'd be putting posters up on the wall and getting things ready, and I would just help her doing that. And then at the end of the school year, you know I'd go and I'd be taking posters down because the year was over, right? And I'll never
Right.
forget that, spending those few hours with my dear sister, helping her out, and
Yep.
damn, I miss her bad. I miss her.
Yeah, and that was back in the days when they had good teachers and they weren't trying to groom kids and
No,
indoctrinate.
no, there's none of that shit back then. It was just like teaching them like mathematics and science and all the good stuff, English and whatnot, right?
Yep. And Sean Carter says, which unfortunately is true, California is about to raise fast food worker wages to
Oh
$20.
my
Yeah, see,
God.
it's a never right. It's just it. It's a never-ending loop because what happened was, yeah, we gave them the $15 they demanded. It's like okay, and then what happened? The burger you were paying $8 for is now $12, and now they're saying, oh, but Now everything's more expensive because we got our $15. Now they're asking for 20. So everything go up again and again, and it's just a vicious cycle. I mean, it just shows the ignorance. Okay, there's good things and bad things. First of all, when it comes to fast food, and by the way, I used to work fast food when I was young. So, if you're young, fast food is supposed to be a step up to get a better job. You're supposed to be looking for an education, getting an education while you're working fast food, and then you're supposed to move up beyond that. They're not. If you're young, fast food is not supposed to pay for you, your wife, and kids. But that's the problem is they don't want to get an education and they want to stick to fast food and they expect fast food to raise their entire family. That's the problem. And also with fast food, as we all know, is you can go into many fast food places and you'll see elderly people working in there, like working the register, sweeping the floors. And those are the ones that are not trying to make a life living out of it. Or they're just working just to have money. We got some life. Yes, LDG, what's up?
Oh no, I wasn't talking to you guys. Sorry, I'm talking to a client.
Oh, sorry about that.
My apologies.
But yeah, that's the problem with fast food is you've got young people, 15, not 15, but 16 on up, that think that they're entitled to more and more and more money. And as we all know, they're the laziest generation that's ever existed. They're the ones that are constantly calling in sick. Those are the ones that are showing up late for work. Those are the ones that are supposed to be flipping burgers and they got their phone glued in their hand.
What, millennials or Generation Zers are you talking about?
Whoever the age I just said, 16, 17, 18, 19. Which one's that?
Well, yeah, they're probably Gen Zers.
I lose track of all those labels. I don't like those labels. But yeah, I take your word for it. I trust you.
You guys are basically talking teenagers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever generation they are.
Well, it's like now, like I don't know about the other states or where you guys are, but in California, they have to hire people, even if they cannot count, they have to let them run register.
Well, that's stupid.
It is, but it's true.
That's bad. Hey,
Yeah,
I got to.
Yeah.
I once went to the grocery store, and I gave the cashier cash, right, Pop? And here in Canada, I don't know if you guys have. Do you guys have nickels down there, like 5-cent pieces?
Yeah, pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters.
Yeah. Okay. I had some cash over to the cashier, and I say, "Oh, I guess I owe you another nickel." And she looks at me and she goes, "What's a nickel?"
It's the same number that's your IQ.
Blew my mind. I'll tell you, I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah, I had a friend who was a manager at a KFC chicken, and he was telling me how the cashiers are always turning and saying, "How much is this? What's change for $1? How much is this? This plus this and this plus that."
Wait. The person said, "What's a nickel?"
She said, "What's a nickel?" That's what she said, Daniel. What's a nickel? It's a mind-blowing experience that is etched in my memory forever.
What's a nickel?
What's a nickel? Yeah, she did not know. I mean, it was probably one of the most hilariously sad moments of my life.
Yeah, see, here's an example. Yeah, and like what Sean says, he says, "I work fast food now, delivering pizza. I'm getting $4.75 an hour when I'm on the road because it's a tip job." And see, that should be illegal because they're assuming you're going to get those tips, and you don't always get those tips.
Well,
So I mentioned that on my last stream. It's the same with restaurants with servers, where they get paid pittance because they expected to get tips, and that's not fair. I mean, it should be where you get paid minimum wage, and then anything that you get beyond that for tips is yours. That's how it should be. But
yeah, $4.75 is obscene. That's way under wage here.
That's what I'm saying. It should be outright illegal. And just like I said during the last stream, if companies could get away with paying us all a penny an hour, they would do it. Yeah, all the companies would give us a penny an hour if they could get away with it.
We'd be back to the 19th century if they could get away with it, right?
Right. That's why there was a point in our history, at least here in America, where they said, slavery, that word doesn't sound good. It just doesn't sound good. Let's change that to minimum wage. Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah, that sounds a lot better.
Oh yeah, I'm well familiar with the term wage slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, I can't believe they're getting $20 US to flip burgers. down there. Because I'm getting $18 an hour, but that's Canadian dollars, so that's definitely much less than $20 American, right?
Well, just
And
a
I'm
few years ago, I was getting $15 to repair copy machines and faxes, and I'm talking
but
about those big copy machines.
but the thing is, I'm getting $18 an hour, which is above minimum wage. Bless my boss. I mean, I think minimum wage is probably around 15 something here, but I'm getting $18 an hour, which is fine. I mean, I can live on that, but it's like somebody getting $20 down in California wanted to flip a hamburger. It's like they're not worth it. They don't deserve that
Nope.
at all. That's
And
ridiculous.
another thing they don't do is they don't hustle. There's no sense of urgency when they're doing their jobs anymore. I used to hustle, and I could put out like in fact every job I ever worked at as fast food, I would immediately be moved right up to head cook because I always put out the highest production. I put out the most burgers, the most fries, the most tacos, whatever it was I was working at, because I was hustled. I took my job seriously. I was never a slacker. And these days they'll just stand there and move like they're on their way to a root canal. There's no sense of urgency anymore either. You can go into any fast food places, watch the cooks and how slow they are. They do not hustle anymore. And you can't crack down on them and say you're not moving fast enough, or they'll complain and you'll get in trouble. Sean Carter says we have what you do, PvP, just not loonies and toonies.
We have loonies and toonies. Our dollar coin is a loony, and our $2 coin is a toonie. And I kind of enjoy being a citizen of a country that has its primary dollar currency as a loony, because I think that kind of sums up a lot of stuff in life, right? We're living in a loony world, so.
Well, Sean says I actually do pretty good though. After tips, I'm averaging between 15 and 20 an hour. If it were paid more than the cost of food would be higher. It works out. Well, I agree, Sean, but all right, okay, Sean. Some people don't. I mean, yeah, you're gonna tourists sometimes make more than minimum wage, but there are going to be times where people don't make minimum wage, and also consider the gas and wear and tear on your car.
That's the
I think,
problem.
right?
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, I don't care what your job is. I don't care if it's delivering pizza or like I used to drive Uber with my own car. I think anytime you use your own car, you should automatically get a stipend just for that, which they don't do. They don't do. I don't think it should have to come out of your wages, which it does.
Well, when I was working at the office, I'd spend 2 hours a week driving back and forth to work, right? Because I work 4 days a week and it'd be 15 minutes each way. So it's like 30 minutes times 4 is like 2 hours, right? And I'd probably be spending like $1,000 a year on gas when I figured it out, right?
Yep.
Which thank God I'm not spending now. So that's one of the blessings from working from home. But if you got to have a job where you're driving all the time, that gas mileage cost is going to definitely add up.
Well, right. Well, like Sean says here, which is good. He says that's true. We get mileage too. Well, Sean, I
Oh, that's
agree.
okay then.
Well, hold on. When I was driving for Uber, we got 50 cents a mile gas. Now, when gas is $5 to $6 a gallon, that means it's nowhere near even covering the wear and tear on my car. I was still coming out in the hole. Unless you drive an electric car, then yeah, that's wonderful. But I know in California, they were giving us 50 cents per mile. And I barely cleared with a Prius, which was 50 miles to the gallon. I did the math. So for those people that drive Uber in California using a regular gas guzzler, they're losing money. And like I said, once again, not only are you losing money on gas, but it doesn't even cover the wear and tear on your car.
Yeah,
So
that's another thing. Yeah.
mileage is like, yeah, sure, that's a little bit of help, but they never consider wear and tear on the car when they're paying you for mileage. That's always up to the owner of the car. Which
Well,
I
they
don't think is
consider
right.
it. They consider not paying it.
Yeah, I think what they should have, like Sean, like a perfect example is Sean Carter delivering pizza. I think what they should do, if they're in the business of having deliveries, they should have a fleet of cars to give you. And that way they don't have to worry about reimbursing you in gas, and all the wear and tear is on their vehicles. It's all tax write-off for them anyway.
That would be nice in an ideal world, I guess.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah,
it should be required to have a fleet.
not.
If delivery is part of
Well,
their
I mean, the
business.
world is ideal. It's just the humans are not that are running
Right.
it.
Right, and like I said,
Well,
but why not? It's a tax write-off. You know what I mean? It's not even it's a tax expenditure that the IRS would give them a total 100% reimbursement for.
yeah,
And it's not.
you kind of think so, right? But I guess
Uh huh.
corporations don't think
Or
that way.
here's a thought: why didn't they come up with some kind of Uber? Why didn't the government come up with some kind of safe Uber or something
Alternative.
like that? That's well, more of a regulated, um, because it's a nightmare now. If you do, I mean, I know people who work for Uber, and it's horrible.
It is. It is. It's
The
terrible.
government could have came up with something that was more regulated and safer for everybody.
Well, remember in California they tried to pass that proposition.
Cheaper,
I think it was
more
25.
money.
Right.
Yeah.
But what they did was Uber and Lyft got together. Both of them, even though they're competitors, they got together and paid the lobbyists to go to Sacramento and pay off the politicians. So they overturned where the government couldn't get involved. So now Uber is they're allowed to do whatever they want to the drivers, pay them as little as they want with no question.
Well, that's good. I mean, I don't want to force another company to do something. I want to promote good companies who are going to do things better to take the lead.
Well, yeah, but what happened was from the driver's perspective, when that passed, they cut everybody's wages.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it's a good thing that we didn't force them.
Well, and the only reason why the state wanted it is because the state wanted them to pay labor taxes, unemployment taxes, all that kind of stuff, right? So it's not like the state was not doing it because they were looking out for the workers. The state was doing it because they were losing a lot of money in taxes from Uber and Lyft.
No.
And Uber and Lyft told the state, you pass this and we're just going to fire everybody. And then Uber went and told the drivers, hey, if the state passes this, it's not our fault. We're so sorry. We're going to have to fire you. It's like, yeah, right. Yeah, it all comes down to, as long as you have enough lobbyists and big enough bribes that'll fill those deep pockets, yeah, sure, you can get away with murder. Sean Carter, you are very lucky. Gas here is $3 right now, and you get 44 cents per mile. The rest up to 65.5 per mile. I can write off on my income tax.
Are you talking $3 a gallon there, Sean? Because that's shocking.
Yeah, sorry, Sean. Nothing personal, but where are you? You don't have to give us your address. I'm just curious.
You must be living in a third world country or something there to get gas.
No, he's in I'm guessing. I don't know, but a conservative state and somewhere in the heart of the country, not near the borders. He's not near any of the borders, is what I'm guessing.
Okay, I'll tell you right now, $3 a gallon.
Oh, he's in Texas.
That's like 75 cents a liter, right?
Yeah, about 4. Yeah, there's 4 liters almost in a gallon.
Okay,
right?
the current gas price here, I think, is around $1.79 a liter. So if I was going to get a gallon of gas, I'd be paying close to $8. That's Canadian, but still, it's a lot more expensive here where I live.
Yeah,
Doesn't Texas have its own oil rigs?
Well, yeah, California used to too, but they shut them all down. And like I said, Texas has all those California people moving out there, so enjoy it while you can, Sean. Yeah, Sean says, and Lemon Pie also says Texas. Sorry, go ahead, PvP.
I just wanted to say Jill better get her shotgun ready then.
Well, wait a minute.
All the California people are going to Texas. Oh man, that'd be funny.
Yeah, and like I said, they're going to ban guns there too. So, yeah, if you guys own guns, enjoy that while that lasts.
Well, Jill better get her slingshot out then.
I can see the next, Texas closes borders while
that's
California.
That's the reason why the Democrats in the border states like California, New York, Oregon, Washington, that's why they went to the conservative states. They didn't move to other Democratic states. They moved to the conservative states because that's just it. They want to change the politics to fit their own. They want to totally eliminate the Republican Party, or what they call the Trumpers, MAGA, I guess. So that's why didn't you guys notice that when they started the big exodus from all the Democratic states to Texas, that's when they immediately opened that border wide open because that was the first thing they had on their agenda. So believe me, the next time you guys have a big voting election, it's going to be all Democrat because that's what that's all those illegal aliens. That's why they're trying to make it to where anybody and everybody can vote without ID. I mean, they have it all. They've had it planned for a long time. So they're going to overthrow the elections, and you're going to have all Democrats running Texas next before you know it. It's going to happen so fast it'll make your head spin. Just watch. The next thing you know, you're going to be just like San Francisco with all the homeless, the needles, the feces in the street. Yeah, just watch. Sad to say. And I like Texas, but just like California, it's not going to be, what we remember much longer. I'm in Arizona, by the way, now, and gas is like about $4 a gallon here. But yeah, in California, we had refineries, all that stuff. They shut all that down. They had just built a brand new nuclear plant, which was supposed to reduce all of the costs of all of our energy. They shut that down. Serious. So now they have the highest utility rates in the country. Of course, what a coincidence.
I think one reason our gas prices are so high in BC here is I don't think we've got any local refineries. I think the closest one is down in Washington State, just south of us. So we get a lot of gas imported. Because I think if you're like just to the east province in Alberta, your gas costs would be much lower. So I do think we have some of the highest gas costs in Canada, unfortunately.
If you're living somewhere where gas has to be imported, that's intentional. Because like the U.S., we were almost gas independent, but that's the reason why when we got the new regime or president, they started shutting down all our refineries so that we start having our gas shipped in, and that's why our gas skyrocketed.
Yeah,
So anytime you have gas piped in or shipped in, that's all political.
yeah, I don't think we have any refineries here in BC. I could be wrong, but I don't think we do.
Right, and it's not like you guys don't have fossil fuels under the surface of the earth. No, it's all political because they don't make enough profit. If I mean, they make more profit off it being shipped in, and that's exactly what they did here in the U.S. They blew up that Nord Stream pipeline. They shut down refineries. They shut down a lot of pipelines. Now we're back to having our oil shipped in, and now we're having our $6 a gallon gases, or for gas. And it's all by design. Sad to say. Oh, and of course, here we are back talking about politics. I'm sorry for all you guys out there that are listening. Sean Curtis.
Maybe we can pick a happy topic towards the end of the stream here.
Sean Curtis says, I fled Cali. There's more of us in the same mindset as me that moved here. The state is more red thanks to Cali. Yeah, and it's going to get worse because they're still flooding it. And like I said, what do you guys get in? How many immigrants, how many thousands are crossing that border every day, Sean? I mean, it's so bad they're having to ship them. You guys seen how they're shipping them to New York on all the sanctuary cities, and now they're complaining, saying, "Please don't ship them here anymore." But it's like, but I thought you guys were sanctuary cities. I thought you wanted them.
Well, I've heard it's not just immigrants from like California.
Oh no. They're immigrants. You're talking about all over the world. They're like Guatemala and all that.
No, I've heard there's like 20,000 people a year or whatever, at least crossing over from Mexico, right?
What they're doing is they're coming from all over the world to Mexico and then across the Mexican border.
Yeah, I remember watching a video.
Right, so it's not just Mexican. Mexicans are a small portion of it now.
Right. No, I watched a video earlier in the week, and it was like shocking, right? How many people are illegally crossing into Texas?
Yeah, and it's thousands per day, not per month or per year.
Yeah, it was scary.
It is. Lemon Pie says, "I don't care if you talk politics. I know Lemon Pie, but I know we're supposed to be pop culture, but I know it's supposed to be open topic. But I do prefer, talking about a little more cheerful things.
I do prefer to not talk politics or religion because I enjoy all you guys, and we may have differing opinions on the subjects, which I don't want to discuss online.
Well, I guess when you think about it, we're not really talking politics. We're talking about the economy.
Oh yeah, I don't mind talking about what we talked about. I think it's all great, but if you ask me for my political or religious opinions, I'll just say I don't feel comfortable talking about that.
Well, I'll just say we're in the minority now, and if you speak up, you got to watch out because there may be retribution. Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I just try to be. I guess I try to be conservative on certain topics on live streams, Pop. If you know what I mean.
Yes. And
Anyway,
and the sad thing is that it's hard to find something positive and fun to talk about these days. I'm trying to think of something something that's exciting and fun that I'm looking forward to. I believe I am trying to think of something.
well, I'll offer one quick thing. Jill's Friday stream when she got her 500 subs and monetized, and I was only on there for maybe like less than an hour because I had my doctor's appointment at the hospital. So I was on there like maybe 20 minutes at the start and maybe half an hour at the end, and so I couldn't really participate, but it seemed like everybody was having a really fun time, and I did wish her well. I wished her, I told her like it's great what's happened. It's really good, and well, Jill. Jill's always a little ray of sunshine.
I know,
She-
and she could always think of something positive to talk about.
She's always positive, which is one reason I consider her a good internet friend. And
And one thing I've never told her about is I appreciate her voice because she doesn't talk about. I'm from California,
right,
and they all talk like and woo and it's high low, and seriously, literally, seriously. So anytime I
wow.
can hear a woman that does not talk like that, it's such a relief.
I personally think Jill has possibly one of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard. I think she's got a really sweet, cute little voice. I think.
Yeah,
I think Jill's.
right, and she's smart and has a great disposition.
Oh, that's
Linda
it.
Pie
She's
says,
so intelligent.
Linda Pie said, BBB, what church denomination are you? LOL, just kidding. Eggnog Lutheranism.
Yeah, that's close enough.
I worship the mighty eggnog.
Yeah, I'm at the Church of Eggnog. I'll go with that.
Right, pass the collection plate.
Yeah, pass the cup of eggnog.
All right, it looks like I'm not sure what time it is for you guys, but I know we're coming up on the hour here. For me, it's
It's just
almost
about
10 p.m.
10 p.m. my time too.
Okay, and I know Daniel. I don't know. I'm not sure where you are if it's later, but I know it's 2 hours later
Yeah.
for like 3 hours for LDG/Job, and it's 2 hours later for Lemon Pie and for Sean Carter. How about you, Daniel? What time is it
It's
there?
12:58 a.m. here. It's
Oh, one. Oh, wow. Okay.
Ouch.
Okay. Then yeah, I think I'm going to be wrapping this up because I still have my Walmart boxes. I've got to. Actually, I only have one Walmart box, which is a garbage can, and then the rest are my Amazon boxes, which are my cooking utensils and my electric griddle. So, all right. With that, I want to say I appreciate everybody in the chat for coming and spending time with us tonight, and all you guys on the panel, those that were here earlier and left, and for those that are still here, thank you all, and especially for Daniel, you being here and it being so late, and the same with LDG. And this is Saturday for me. We're going on Sunday soon, but my next stream obviously will be Lost in Space Monday. I'm excited for that. I can't wait, and I hope to see you guys there. Is there anything you guys want to say about your channel here before we sign off for the night?
Nothing new for me. It's just like I'm still always working on music stuff, but I haven't had the time to actually really do any additions to anything. But I'm still working behind the scenes. I got some stuff that's like it's still private. I'll probably make it public once I figure out if it's good enough, but it might be a while. And I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to the Lost in Space stream on Monday, Pop. Um,
Yep.
I just was thinking, we're getting close to the end of season one now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're gonna be getting there. I need to order the next book for season 2. I was thinking about that today.
Yeah, because I think we got what, maybe another 6 weeks or something to go before we finish season one. So
At the most, yeah.
Yeah, I think they had what 29 episodes, I believe it was, something like that. So we're getting
Yeah,
there.
something like that. We're getting there. How about you,
And
Daniel? Oh, sorry. Go
oh,
ahead.
okay. I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, I'm going to find it very interesting how Jill reacts to the second season color episodes, especially when some of them get really, really silly. If you
I
know what
know,
I
and
mean.
it's a shame that it's a shame that somebody sent her the link to the season 3 music opening. It's like, oh, I was hoping that she would experience that with us, but a little too late, I guess. You
Yeah,
can't keep her in the dark forever.
I really do think the season three. I know Jill thinks season one is a better theme, but I actually personally prefer the season three theme by John Williams. I think it's
So do
actually
I,
really
and
great.
so do I. And with the countdown, I think it's something that she needs to get more familiar with before. I think she may end up changing her mind on that. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I think if she listens to it a few more times, she'll appreciate it because I love the countdown too. It's like 1, 2, 3, whatever. It's really a great, great theme.
Yeah. Now, Daniel, anything you'd like to share about? Do you have a channel with any content?
No, I don't have any content on it. Not yet, at least.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. How about you, LDG? Are you still awake?
I'm still here, man. No, I'm just closing up here, finishing up some work. Thanks for having me. Appreciate your stream tonight. Anytime.
Likewise. Thank you for spending some time with us, LDG. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for your advice earlier today.
Yep. Anytime.
Okay. So, all right. So I will see you guys soon. Hopefully, I'll see everybody on Monday.
Later, guys.
All
Be
right.
good.
Yeah. Be there at Lost in Space if at all possible, unless something weird happens. So yeah.
Okay. I'll send out the link. All right. I'll see you guys later. Take care.
Okay. Night,
Bye, everybody.
night, guys.
Bye
Have a
bye.
great one.